are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Francis and Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brad Scott, Sportsworthy, and Ryan Davis.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. Landon Schmidt producing. We're Sports Time. We're with you for the next 3 hours. A lot to get to. Grizzlies back in action tonight against the New York Knicks. It's a busy weekend of college basketball. Tigers, they have a big game on the road. SEC, we know the chaos that is any game in that conference. So a lot to get to over these next 3 hours. But Brett, Darian caught a little R&R the other day. A couple days off. Now you're back. Welcome back. How you doing this afternoon?
All good. Glad to be back. Good to see you. And Darian, my goodness, and Tiger bankroll what he did with taking the Rice Owls the other night, plus the 14.5. He dropped the house on us.
He did. $800.
$800. Largest weight.
Oh, man.
Largest wager ever in Tiger bankroll.
I mean, it was wild to see. See that number. That's all I can say.
I can't really read I can't tell my reaction in the text chain, can I?
No, you can't. It was, I think we all had the same reaction.
And for most of the night, unfortunately, it was way too close. Then the Tigers almost covered.
Yeah. I mean, they're at the end. I mean, you look up and you go, "Holy cow! They're up. They're up 12."
Hey, Brian, it highlights the bar, the number, the expectations that's been set out there in this conference. It's got its shortcomings and it's been well documented. And I've said about every ugly thing I can say about this conference. But night in, night out, just to go through these spreads of 14.5, 14.5, 16.5, 12.5, 11.5, 13.5. That's just in conference play that I'm rolling through. Point spread 7.5, another 7.5, another 11.5, 8.5.
Yeah.
That's almost impossible to do.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's we talk about it a lot. I mean, it's this conference. It's just a bunch of landmines out there. It's massive numbers, and if you don't cover them, then people question you. And I think there's a big difference. What was it? A couple weekends ago against Wichita State. That game, you didn't feel good about it the entire time, and then Wichita State ends up winning. Against Rice, there was never a moment in that game watching it that I said, Memphis is going to lose this game. I always felt Memphis at the end is going to come out victorious. I thought the same,
tracking on my phone.
And I think a lot of people, I think that's a better gauge instead of how bad are you beating them or anything like that.
With the college football playoff term.
Well, yes.
Game control.
That's right, game control.
The Tigers were in control.
Yes, they were in control.
Got somewhat tenuous, but in the end, aren't we playing for left-hand column?
Right.
But, Bryant, the beauty of today, the beauty of Friday, February 28th, tomorrow gives way to madness. And what it also does this time of year, you're looking at all this bracketology, and it's really coalescing. Man. And a couple of places, Jerry Palm and Joe Brackets. The setup is beautiful.
I haven't looked at Palm. I've seen Joe B.
Little different seating.
Okay.
Tigers, Arkansas, first round.
Yep.
I can't describe to you the gloriousness of that. And I contend, and I want people to tell us this at the text line, Sissy's Log Cabin text line, 901-360-8255. Here's my contention, and I've had it really since a famous New Year's Eve game, 1977, at the Coliseum between Eddie Sutton's Razorbacks with the triplets and against a really good Tiger team. Other than Louisville, I think the opponent, rival, whatever you want to call them, I think the things it gets the Tiger fans' juices going more than anything. It's Arkansas.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Not Tennessee, not Ole Miss, not anybody in this conference. But the beauty of right now, with all this coalescing with the brackets, and I mean, it's really starting to set itself. I mean, it's like we poured the concrete 2 weeks ago, but it's hardening now. I mean, it's getting ready to be a driveway now, or interstate, or a runway. The beauty of right now, and playing out starting Sunday with elimination games in conferences.
Crazy.
From now through Selection Sunday, starting Sunday, somebody, sack up the bats. The season's over. Mixing metaphors. The beauty of it is this. It's win time.
Mm-hmm.
If you win, you get to talk. If you win in advance, you get to talk. If you don't, it's clam up time.
Yep.
It's no more, well, the net's better and Joe Brackets likes me better than you. No, it's all going to play out in that big menagerie called March Madness in the bracket. So, the talking season's over.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we talk about you are who you are. This is the time that you got to win games. Winning matters the most. And so you mentioned the first round game for both Palm and Joe Lunardi. It's both Memphis versus Arkansas.
Seed a little different in both.
A little different. Jerry Palm has Memphis a 6, Arkansas an 11. Joey B has Memphis a 7 and Arkansas a 10. But here's where it gets better. So Joe Lunardi has Memphis facing off against Arkansas in the first round. If Memphis was to beat Arkansas, they would play Tennessee in the second round. You go over to Jerry Palm. If Memphis beat Arkansas in the first round, they would see St. John's in the second round. So, I mean,
it's all beautiful.
Sign me up for either of those. That'd be fun.
Sign up for either. And if Joe Lunardi's right, in Raleigh, 7 versus 10, Memphis versus the Razorbacks, then you get the winner of Tennessee, Norfolk State. Mm-hmm. And I often say this, whether they're thrown together off at a holiday tournament or whatever, this is the classic of all time. Mm-hmm. Everybody play nice. Play nice, everybody.
Play nice.
Be nice in the hallway, in the concourse area.
Same hotel.
At the hotels, everybody play nice.
Yeah, especially those two. Be careful out there. But no, I mean, I think Sunday's big game, and it sounds like, I know we'll talk to Jason Munns here in a couple hours at 5 o'clock, but he reposted it. Only about 1,000 tickets left at Bartow Arena, naturally. So, it's going to be a good environment.
There are a lot of Tiger fans, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, Connor and a couple of his buddies are
never been easier to get to Birmingham.
Oh, yeah. So they're going to drive down there Sunday
Birmingham
morning.
got easy to go to after I quit going very much.
Yeah. They waited till you were done with them, and then they made it really
easy. Air Force One on 78 now.
That's right. So Sunday's going to be fun, and then, it's the final week of the regular season, which is, just blows my mind.
More coalescing, more concrete proof that now is go time. All the maybe and coulda and shoulda, all that stuff, that's a lot of fun. It's part of the dance of the season. Oh, yeah. We're getting down to the dance.
Yes, yeah. It's beautiful. It is beautiful.
And
it's gonna be a lot of fun.
If you win, you advance, and if you lose, you clam up and try to get them next year.
Try to get off season starts now. But heck, in the Big Ten, it feels like March has already started. Back-to-back nights, buzzer beaters. Michigan State 2 nights ago. Mm-hmm. Michigan last night, an unbelievable
Michigan State
play.
From way downtown.
Way downtown.
Now that would have gone to overtime had it gone
to overtime.
But still,
yeah. That broke the tie. Would have gone to overtime. They won by 3, and then last night that Rutgers-Michigan game where I thought Rutgers had it, and
we really have the bracket at play now. Mm-hmm. Georgia and Texas tomorrow's an elimination game.
Oh yeah.
I thought Texas and Arkansas was quasi-elimination.
Sure. Well, that night was incredible. The amount of I was telling you before we got on air, I was at the Tigers game, and then getting home, the amount of games that were going on that had bubble implications. You had Vanderbilt beating Texas A&M. You had Arkansas and Texas. You had SMU in that late night window. Kentucky OU. There was even some ACC games, Virginia and Wake Forest, and there was one other game that was a Penn State and Indiana was going on at the same time. It just felt like we're here. These games, every game now matters a whole lot more than they mattered 2 weeks ago.
Walking to the car, I leave Bud Walton Arena and walking to the car, I hear somebody say, how did Kentucky OU finish up? I just looked and I said, Kentucky won at the buzzer. OU gave it away at the end. So everybody knows to be scoreboard watching too.
Yeah. You're looking at everything, and especially if you are kind of in that position.
Man, I saw a classic. As soon as I walked in today, I told you, and saw him twice this year. I think he had 27 at Oxford. I know he had 39 in Fayetteville. I could watch Trey Johnson every night he's going to go in the first 8 picks.
He's incredible, and you may have seen the 2 games of Trey Johnson.
It's just so easy for him.
He makes it look so easy.
I don't know why he ever passes it. I do. Landon flag the tape. Everybody, if you're out on the highway, don't
pull over. I don't know.
Don't have an accident when I do this. I thought down the stretch, John Calipari handed it to the Texas coach, and finally, late in the game, recognized. Run a double team at him and make him give up the ball.
Yeah.
Because they don't have much else.
No.
Kaluma's really raw.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Kaluma and the projection of what he can be, what he can give you some nights is really, really good. But there are a lot of times where he is not as effective as you want him to be. And you're right. I mean, if you can find a way to neutralize Trey Johnson, which for most of that game they were not able to. At the end, they were able to get some stops. But I think you have a pretty good shot against Texas.
It was 19,000 in Bud Walton Arena. There was not a single open seat. Rocking.
Yeah.
Nothing gets the Razorback fans charged up, which I'm sorry, we're not going to catch up with Ty Richardson today. He's on a big, great guy golf trip, and I'd rather be. I don't know that. Well, I don't know if he really in broadcast shape at 4:30 today.
No.
From the fun they're having, but nothing gets the Razorback fans going like playing Texas, and how their game ops handled it. Was just masterfully in the building. Every TV timeout, they kept the vibe going great in the building, either pep band or music, and every shot of every fan was horns down.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It was a world record set of horns down.
That's beautiful.
They wanted a piece of Texas and got the season sweep against them.
Sure did.
So I've seen Texas 2 times as a member of the SEC. And horns down in both of them.
Love it.
The last 4 times I've seen Texas play live. Okay. Basketball at Fayetteville Wednesday night, basketball in Oxford in June, Red River in 2016, and Ole Miss there at DKR in 2013. It's been horns down in every one of them for me. Texas loses every time I go now live, which is a big difference from my childhood.
Yeah, don't let all. You have a lot of buddies at various programs in the SEC. Do not let them know that you might be being asked to go to a lot of different places over the next couple of years in Texas.
And a lot of rumors flying around the Texas coaching spot. I think he's out, and Chris Del Conte, their AD, is going to land a big one. I think he is going big game elephant hunting.
Feels like it. I mean, with that brand of Texas being in the SEC now, I mean, it feels like the football program seems like it's in a great spot.
They got stuck with him after Chris Beard's situation.
I understand why he's there right now, but it feels like if you're going to make the move, you're going to go out there and try to swing big, and so I believe it.
You just wonder, if how big. And I'm just throwing names out. This is pure supposition. It's not based on anything. Would you be worried about Pitino's age? Because everything's a 2 to 3 year hitch now, it feels like.
That's a good point.
4 if you can really get it.
Man, the way he's got St. John's rolling, I don't think you worry about it at all.
I know they would never do it, and maybe neither party would be interested, but he was cleared. When I go back to Chris Beard.
You're right. There's a lot behind that. I don't know if both either sides would want to get around to that, but I mean,
there are some Texas boosters that want to make an offer that John Calipari can't turn down. And I don't think he would take it. I don't think he would leave after 1 year at Arkansas. But
tell me what the offer is. I mean,
and you just have to wonder in this day and age he has shown he can go up against big name head coaches. And you give him the Texas NIL, would Penny Hardaway be on the list? Why wouldn't he be on the list?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's gonna
name resonates in basketball circles.
Absolutely does. It absolutely does. Yeah, no, we talked about it. I think yesterday, or maybe it was Wednesday. We brought it up, but David Cobb posted on CBS Sports their kind of tier of hot seat, and obviously Rodney Terry was on there. He was on hot seat. And then further down in the lower tier, I think it was something like keep an eye on was Porter Moser. I think those were the only two SEC coaches in that mix. But it does feel like Texas is probably going to make a change.
I think Buzz Williams is getting a little bit of the itch, but largely because the AD, his boss now, did not hire him.
Right.
Ross hired him. Now he's working for Trev Alpers.
Yeah, so that would certainly be one to pay attention to if he said I've had enough. But that's it. And Texas A&M has a big game this weekend at Florida, and Florida's going to want some revenge after losing to Georgia. So you're talking about the and I don't think I brought this up yesterday, but you're talking about at the Arkansas game how every TV timeout where they had something going and everyone was engaged. So I'm at the Tigers game on Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever that was, and it was the moment, PJ Haggerty gets the technical, they go to commercial, everybody is letting the refs have it, and obviously already planned for that timeout. They had a fan out on the court blindfolded where they wanted you to cheer when he was going into the direction of Pouncer and boo when he's going into the opposite direction. Well, everyone is booing the officials, and so he starts.
It's got him all messed up.
He's walking in circles, and so finally, I think the student section finally saw what was going on and started cheering real big, and so then everyone else kind of realized, okay, let's stop and let this finish, and then so he got to Pouncer, everybody cheered, and then everybody immediately went back to booing the officials. I
thought you were going to say that somebody catcalled him blindfolded was better than the referee.
No. Well, I would not be surprised if that was being thrown out there, but that was a good moment in the game on Wednesday. But we got a lot to get into today. We got to talk Grizzlies, big one for them tonight at home, a lot more college basketball. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Alan Bell from the AB3 and Driving the Line. He'll join us. We'll talk some wagering with him, talk college basketball, NBA, even some college baseball, get some picks from Alan Bell. 3:45, we'll get into the Grizzlies game tonight as they host the New York Knicks. That line has been moving around a lot, and it's you got to keep an eye on who might be playing for the Knicks. According to ESPN's injury report, Josh Hart, Karl Anthony Towns, and Mitchell Robinson all game time decisions. It sounds like from reports that Mitchell Robinson is the most likely to go tonight, but definitely keep an eye. I know that line opened at Memphis, a 2.5-point favorite, got up to Memphis, a 4.5-point favorite. Now is Memphis a 3.5-point favorite. So a lot going to be determined based on who plays tonight. We'll talk about that at 3:45. 4 o'clock, Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net. He'll join us. We'll talk more wagering with him. We'll get his thoughts on tonight's Grizzlies-Knicks game. We'll also talk about a lot of other games this weekend in the NBA and college basketball. 4:30, we'll talk about the SEC and what this weekend looks like. I mean, it feels like every single game in the SEC is a heavyweight
16th round tomorrow.
That's right. And this one feels big as we get closer to the SEC tournament. So we'll talk about those games at 4:30. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Jason Munns, the Commercial Appeal Tiger basketball beat writer. He'll join us. As always, Jason, presented by Jim's Place Grill in Carville. We'll talk a lot about what happened Wednesday night against Rice. We'll preview this weekend's game against UAB. A lot to get to with Jason at 5 o'clock. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending. And at 5:45, wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. It's Family Leisure's first ever preseason pool, spa, and patio event going on now at Family Leisure Pools. From $19.99, spas from $29.99. Cold plunge and swim spas are priced to move. And don't forget about the patio furniture. Patio furniture sets starting at $7.99. Register to win either a free pool, spa, or patio set. Stop by today to sign up. Only at Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
Break it.
Yeah, Joel Embiid out for the season. We thought it looked like it was going this way. I mean, whenever you hear a player say or a team come out and say, we're really looking into if he needs surgery, that leads you to believe he needs surgery, and you're probably going to keep him out for the rest of the season.
And I don't know what NBA analyst, I think it was Kendrick Perkins, said, what doctor says more play makes a gimpy knee better?
That doesn't make any sense at all.
If you're looking at we got to get you through 2 weeks in the NBA Finals. Okay.
Sure, that's different. But we're in February.
25 more games and going nowhere. But at that price, it almost had to be done.
Mm-hmm.
This hour of our show every day brought to you by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Give them a call at 901-334-9673. Great offers on all the 2025 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500, and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, it's got to be the Grizzlies and the Knicks tonight at FedEx Forum. We know after what was a long time for the Grizzlies being on the road, they're now back at home. They played a home game earlier this week. Now 4 more games at home before they go back on the road. And tonight, it's the New York Knicks. And you know the Grizzlies want some revenge after how the last time they played the Knicks went. It was a lopsided loss at Madison Square Garden, 143-106, the final score. I hear a lot of people, and we've talked about it, Brett, and I think we talked about it earlier this week with Michael as well, of this notion that the Grizzlies can't beat good teams, that you look at their record against teams above 500, they really struggle. Knicks, kind of in a similar situation. A lot of people starting to point out the fact that they really struggle against the quote-unquote NBA elites. When you look at the Celtics and Cleveland and the Thunder, those 3 teams, they're 0-7 this season against those 3 opponents. So both of these teams, it feels like, are hearing a lot of noise around them, even though the Grizzlies, number 2 in the West, and the Knicks, number 3 in the East. It feels like both of them want to prove points about how good they are, and this feels like a good opportunity for both of these teams. I mentioned it earlier, this line is kind of hopping around everywhere. Started at 2.5, went all the way up to 4.5, now down to the Grizzlies as a 3.5-point favorite, and that all has to do with the availability of some of these guys for the Knicks. It sounds like Mitchell Robinson is looking to return tonight. Obviously, everything has to go well pre-game for him to be able to play, but then also Karl Anthony Towns, Josh Hart, both listed as game time decisions. Obviously, I mean, those are 3 high-level players right there. If they're able to go, that will definitely change things. For the Grizzlies, though, Desmond Bane listed as questionable with groin soreness, and they did not have shoot-around this morning, so we'll know a little bit later how he's progressing and if he will be able to go tonight. And then just added to the status report, G.G. Jackson is questionable for tonight's game. So we'll keep you updated if we hear anything, but right now, 2 guys listed as questionable for the Grizzlies.
Landon Schmidt producing. He's Brian. I'm Brett. We want you to reach out to us by texting or calling 901-360-8255 at the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line, always from our Family Leisure studio. And my top story is this. Let's dream a little bit. Let's play a little make-believe and go and get out there deep. You want to?
Let's do it.
2 seed right now for the Grizzlies. Let's first of all stay there.
Yeah.
And then 3 seed for the Knicks. They stay there.
Okay.
Somehow the Grizzlies make it through the ever competitive West. Somehow the Knicks make it through the East. Tonight in downtown Memphis, a preview of the NBA Finals. Who would sign up for that?
I know you would.
It's my dream finals.
Yes.
It's my dream finals where I don't care what it costs. Yeah. I'm going to all 7 games. The 3 or 4 in Memphis would be a lot easier than the 3 or 4 in New York City. But it's my dream finals. It's a long shot. I know it's a dream. Probably not going to happen. And the Knicks pounded the Grizzlies in the only other meeting this year. So we'll see if the Grizzlies can get revenge from late January on this last day of February. the Grizzlies have to bow up against these better teams.
Yeah, we can dream, though.
Let's dream.
Okay. Let's dream. This could be a preview tonight.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, it's the bracketologies. We know we get...
Let's dream.
Let's dream. Back to dreaming. We know we get updated brackets on Friday from both Jerry Palm and Joe
These mean a lot more than a January bracket.
These mean...
Because tomorrow's March.
10 times more. These also mean a lot more than the July brackets that Joe Lenardi loves to get us. Joe, go on vacation.
Yeah.
I mean,
spend
a little time away from the brackets. Just something. But
step away from the brackets.
Yeah, yes. Show me your hands. No, but Joe Lenardi, he has Memphis as a 7 seed, but these matchups would be a whole lot of fun. Arkansas as the 10 seed would be the first matchup. Then if you get past that, you see your old buddies over in Knoxville at Tennessee. They are right now the 2 seed in Joe Lenardi's bracket. And then you go over to Jerry Palm. It's not too much difference there. I mean, right, the seed line's different. Memphis a 6, Arkansas an 11.
There's not a fan of Arkansas, Tennessee, or Memphis that aren't all saying bring all that over.
Let's do it. It would be so much fun. And then, you might not get Tennessee afterwards if you were to beat Arkansas.
Pitino, that's not bad.
You get Rick Pitino in St. John. So I like what the brackets look like right now. And you're right. I mean, tomorrow is March. These brackets start meaning a lot more as we get closer to Selection Sunday.
My not top story, Tigers and UAB on Sunday at Gene Bartow Arena. Tigers win, and they're going to probably walk to the 1 seed. Probably will anyway. And if it's a tie at the end of the year, here's how you know who really won the conference. At the conference tournament, whoever the 1 seed is.
Yeah.
And the 2's the second best team, and the 3rd is, and so on and so forth. A few years ago, the Tigers were the 6th seed, and I had someone telling me that doesn't mean they're the 6th best team. Well, what does it mean then?
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what it means.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah, well, Sunday's going to be fun. I know it's going to be a packed environment, a hostile environment, but I think the Tigers are ready for it. That'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break, and when we return, we're talking some wagering with Alan Bell.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ. I know it's not spring yet, but it's close, and right now, it's the perfect time to start thinking and planning for your backyard entertainment. It just so happens Family Leisure is thinking that way too, with their preseason pool and patio sale. Get 2024 pricing on all above-ground pools and patio furniture. Also, secure your spot for pool installation. That way, you can go ahead and start making plans. Lots of new inventory is en route, so in-stock patio furniture is up to 70% off. You want a play gym, a trampoline, how about an outdoor kitchen to go along with that new pool? They're all on sale too. You can get spas up to $3,000 off and save even more by mentioning this ad. You do that, you'll get a $250 gift card with a pool, spa, or patio furniture purchase. Winter won't last forever. The spring will be here soon, so get ready with the preseason pool and patio sale at Family Leisure, Rick Road off I-40, where family and fun all come together.
This is Kelly Erb with Mark Spensdorf Realtors. I have worked with Sheldon Rosengarten for over 10 years and have noticed something about the way he works with his clients. He is way too honest, and they are grateful for us for pointing out things they were not aware of.
This is Sheldon, and yes, being honest has caused people to really think about what they need to do to sell their homes or when they buy. Kelly and I have advised people about what are the best and most economical things to do to prepare their homes for the market to get the best prices.
And Sheldon, we always provide our buyers with the necessary background research to advise them before they make an offer on a house. And yes, we have even sometimes talked clients out of buying, and they're grateful for us pointing out things they were not aware of.
So if you're thinking of buying a home, call or email Kelly or me, and before you list your home, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers, but make sure we are one of them.
Yes, remember to call me, Kelly Erb, at 355-3830.
And when you want the job done, call Sheldon or 30546 or MemphisRelocate.com. Call us today.
All 650 acquisition fee, 20,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. K4, SEO 233118, MSRP 25320. Telluride SG59624, MSRP 41060. Sportage S719 2005, MSRP 30660. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through KFA. Excludes top final license 895 PF with approved credit. Dealer stock only. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/2/2025.
It's the Kia President's Day sales event on now at Classic Kia South Mount Moriah. Hey, what's up, Jeff Allen?
Randy, I've got a 2025 Kia K4 LXS for less than $5 a day at $159 a month with class-leading torque and fuel efficiency. 2025 Kia Telluride has front-wheel drive with more power, larger cargo area, and more ground clearance than a Nissan Pathfinder. $398 a month. Plus a 2025 Sportage EX, better overall customer rating than a Toyota RAV4 and longer warranty per Edmunds.com at $279 a month.
All $49.99 to a signing, 24-month lease. Plus, get a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Classic Kia on Mount Moriah.
T-Mobile 5G home internet keeps getting better. Get our fastest connection loaded with benefits. Get T-Mobile's best home internet starting at $55 a month with auto pay and invoice line. Plus, price lock. We won't raise your rate on internet. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet. Exclusions and taxes and fees apply. Guarantees regular monthly rate plan price of fixed wireless 5G internet data with qualifying service. Up to $15 work rate with postpaid voice line. Plus $5 a month without auto pay with debit or bank account. Regulatory fees included for qualifying accounts. $35 connection charge applies. Speeds vary due to factors affecting cellular networks. Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for the loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every dollar you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Rose on Highway 64 in Marlin, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill. Each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church in Memphis. Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. A little bit crowded at times. I-40 West here at Danny Thomas, headed across the I-40 bridge over into West Memphis. Busy where you would expect this time of day with that traffic volume. 55 southbound down through South Haven, continuing down into DeSoto County. Weimer's Jewelry serving Memphis now for over 40 years. No matter what the occasion is, you'll save a lot of money by shopping local at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck, your on-time traffic.
Welcome back in Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We've got to talk some wagering, and joining us now to do so, Alan Bell from the AB3 and Driving the Line. Alan, thanks so much for joining us. Let's start with a local NBA game tonight. I'm curious your thoughts. Knicks and Grizzlies tonight. Last time these two teams faced off, it was all New York. But now here in Memphis, the Grizzlies a 3.5-point favorite right now. The total at 244.5. Couple guys listed as game time decisions for the Knicks. Josh Hart's, Karl Anthony Towns, and Mitchell Robinson all listed as game time decisions. Do you like anything in this game? How are you viewing this one?
Yeah, you know what? First off, I appreciate you guys having me back. Number two, I'm not going to overthink this one. Like, I like the Grizzlies here. I like them to cover the spread, and I don't want to mess with anything else, right? Like, once you start having, players that could be out, specifically multiple for New York, it could be trouble. And quite frankly, I think this is a really good spot for Memphis to just kind of assert itself, man, and get itself right. And, see their stars be stars, man. So I know that sounds cliche, but I'm all right with cliche and betting sometimes. And this is a spot to do that. So, yeah, man, not going to overthink it, man. Just give me Memphis and let's go.
Total at 244.5, which after Tuesday night's classic, arguably maybe the best Grizzlies regular season home win ever, 151-148 in overtime. That's 299. That would get over 244.5 real easily. But we may not have overtime. What do you think of the total?
Yeah, again, like look, man, shooting is contagious, right? Like, I don't think that we're going to have that style of game, but that's what scares me, right? Like, I would lean to the over. But here's also the difficult part. I think that there's a chance that Memphis could blow New York out. And when you see blowouts, man, those lead to unders. That's the difficult part, right, is that you could have a team like Memphis come out and do its job fantastically in regards to scoring points, and New York doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, that's the most difficult part, right? So I would lean to the over, but I would be careful. This is one of those, like, just don't overthink it. Just roll with the team that you think's going to win. Keep it that simple.
You know, Alan, you're talking about not overthinking. A year ago right now, it was easy. Just ride UConn. They were automatic down the stretch in the Big East tournament, in the NCAA tournament, all the way to back-to-back. Do you have a team or a coach you really want to ride in this coming March?
Yeah, two of them, Duke and Auburn.
That's two good ones.
Teams. Yeah, and you know, again, I mean, it's easy to say that, right? But it's the truth. And if you look at Duke is better on the road than they are at home. Like, this team is so incredibly efficient on both sides of the ball, and Auburn is too, right? But Duke is putting up just unreal. I mean, they're putting up NBA numbers, man. Like, that's the scary part, is that they could go for 100 and keep you at 60. It's nuts, man. Those two teams for sure. Like, there are others, you know, that are really good. I think that Florida is a really good basketball team, but they're fallible, right? Like, they can run into a Georgia or just not look good. But Duke and Auburn just continue to just handle their business, man. Now, is anybody UConn? That's a tough ask. But if you had to give me one that could act like it, it would be Duke, man. This basketball team, and especially how they're playing right now, it's unreal.
And this fact, Auburn's starting five, average age 23.2. The Oklahoma City Thunder average starting five, 24.4. They're as old as Oklahoma City.
That's right.
There you go. Like, it's all NBA players over there, man.
That's right. I know there's not a line set on this game tomorrow night, but one that I'm already looking at for tomorrow, Texas A&M on the road against Florida. Florida coming off the loss on the road against Georgia, now back at home. Texas A&M, great defensively, but have really struggled on the offensive end. How do you see this one? I know there's not a line set, but kind of what are your early leans on this one?
Dude, you can give me Florida all day long.
Yeah.
Look, man, like, I think that Florida's a team that bounces back strong. Texas A&M, they just lost to Vanderbilt. Don't get me wrong, Vanderbilt is playing out of its mind and has all season
Especially
long.
at home.
But
I mean, they are deadly at home.
deadly. Like, and they have no size. Like, their whole team and their coaching staff doing a great job. But Texas A&M, man, they've been doing this for a while. This ain't new. I can't trust them. I don't believe in anything that they do. And we've talked about it on here, you know, plenty of times, that if you can't create a shot and create an offense when you need to, buddy, you ain't going nowhere. And I don't believe Texas A&M is for real. I don't like anything about this team. I'll take Florida. I'll say this. Anything that's under 14 points for Florida, give it to me. Because I think Florida whoops the dog out of Texas A&M. I don't think Texas A&M, they're, as they say in Texas, they're all hat, no cattle. There ain't nothing backing them, man. I don't believe in them at all.
I love it. I know you are you love Major League Baseball. You love betting on Major League Baseball. I feel like I ask this question to you every single year. Spring training, it's off and running. What are you paying attention to during spring training? Do you pay attention to spring training when it comes to kind of looking at futures and getting ready for the MLB season?
A little bit. You know, I try not to take too terribly much from it because, you know, you're going to get a lot of young guys. You're going to get a lot of, you know, really, you know, just different mindsets in regards to how managers approach it, right? But you can start to get an idea of how new players are working with new teams. Guys like Juan Soto, you know, it's a home run. It's first at bat, you know, in New York. So it's like, okay, all right, he's feeling comfortable there. You start to get a look at, you know, the LA Dodgers, their pitching rotation, right? So, yeah, I don't take too terribly much, but, God, it's nice having baseball on. I'll tell you that. Like, I'll watch it and have it on just for the sound. You know what I mean? Like, when you're at the house and, like, just hearing the sound of baseball, like, it's my favorite sport. I absolutely love baseball, and yeah, like, it's just great having it, even if you're not watching it, just in the background, man. It's awesome.
We're 2 weeks from SEC play beginning. What about these last 2 weekends before that? Anything in the SEC you're watching this weekend?
Yeah, just checking out these teams, right, in regards to, opponents that they have, right? I'll say, Ole Miss going up against Wright State, right? Wright State is a team that was very dangerous last year at the plate, can score a lot of runs, but I think Ole Miss is playing fantastic baseball considering they had a lot of guys that left, and they still got studs for sure, and they're playing great, so I like to just, kind of keep up with them. Florida, playing a lot better than they were in the regular season last year. Tennessee, finally going to get a test this weekend, right? They've been playing some kind of nobodies out there, and, they've got a big tournament down there in Houston. And then watching teams like Mississippi State, they hit for the cycle in the bottom of the seventh last night. Like, I've never seen that before. That was insane, right? So, yeah, like, you've got a lot of different teams, but we're starting to see a little bit stronger tests. And then once conference play starts, man, it's going to be great. Like, what do we do with South Carolina? You know what I mean? Like, there are so many teams there. And then Texas, Oklahoma. And it's fascinating, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of college football season over and unders are starting to filter out.
Yeah.
Have you looked at any of those? And there are even lines for opening weekend on some games.
Which is frightening, right? Because you look at it, you're like, oh, yeah, I got a feel on this.
Bama -8 against FSU in Tallahassee.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. My goodness, man. Be careful with those. However, don't be afraid to have some fun with those, right? Like, if you've got a good feel on a team, this is where, we always say, like, in sports betting, you don't bet with your heart, right? Like, you don't bet the team that you like. Well, if that's a team that you know, all right, you could use that information. Just don't let your heart get biased into it. Don't be afraid to fade your team if you need to. But, yeah, right now, I mean, you're going to have to let that money sit for 5 months. But other than that, man, like, yeah, you can find some value for sure.
Yeah, just don't know that I want to put the big life-changing bet on Ohio State -3 at home against Texas right now.
I know. You're like, who's even going to be playing quarterback? What is going to be? Yeah.
You kind of need to know the roster.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, it helps. It helps.
It definitely does. Alan, before we let you go, is there any games you like tonight in college baseball?
Yeah. So, all right, BYU Gonzaga, all right, you're going to see an over of 10. BYU has gotten all over Gonzaga. Did it last night. This team is just absolutely raking at the plate right now. It's already, clearly ended. But if you're betting college baseball this weekend, all right, Virginia Tech is a team that is absolutely hitting double after double after double after double. Like, they are just producing runs at a crazy rate right now. So they're a team that you want to take advantage of. But yeah, man, BYU Gonzaga. Yeah, that total is low. It should be way higher. Put it over there.
I love it. Alan, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and enjoy this weekend. We'll do it again next week.
Look forward to it, boys. Y'all have a great weekend.
You too. Good luck. Thank you.
Thanks, Alan. Alan Bell joining us every single week to talk some wagering. Go make sure, give them a follow and check out what they're doing over there at the AB3 and Driving the Line. Brett, we did get some news today. I wanted to bring
Speaking of football,
and we can get back to it certainly at 5:30 when we have a little bit more time, but I did want to bring it up. The Tiger football schedule has finally been released. We've been waiting for the American to release the schedule. This is how it looks. They start at home August 30th against Chattanooga. The following week, September 6th, on the road at Georgia State. Then September 13th at Troy. Then the big one, home September 20th against Arkansas. Then conference play starts at FAU September 27th. Home versus Tulsa October 4th. At UAB October 18th. Home versus USF on October 25th. On the road at Rice, October 31st. Home versus Tulane on November 7th.
A Friday night.
A Friday night, that's right. November 15th at East Carolina. And then the final game of the season, still to be determined, either Thanksgiving, November 27th, or Black Friday, November 28th. Home against Navy to end the regular season.
I was hoping Tulane-Memphis would fall in every year.
I was too.
On Thanksgiving night, like the Egg Bowl.
I was too.
Got it last year, got the big upset win, really dominating win for the Tigers down in New Orleans. But I don't mind playing Navy at the end for a couple of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Depth never really that strong suit, and the Tigers have had a pretty good book through the years. I know what happened last year.
Mm-hmm.
But you really have a book by that time of year on Navy. And that time of year for Navy, they've got one eye on the Army.
They're looking to a bigger game than that one.
So I don't know that I mind that, but I thought we were, as much as we're guaranteed anything now, we were guaranteed Memphis and Tulane to be annual on Thanksgiving, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like, when Houston and Cincinnati were still in the league, that you felt pretty confident every year you'd get one of those teams at the end of the season. It felt like, and you see it, the American do it in basketball as well, where they try to kind of put those teams that they think are going to be big games, those almost rivalry type games, as that last game. And so I was a little surprised when I saw Tulane not as that final game. But you're right, Navy, they've given Memphis trouble. Certainly last year we know what happened, but it feels like at home Memphis has handled Navy pretty well, and maybe it's more of a factor on the road. So schedule finally out for the American, and now we wait till spring ball.
Yeah, we have the dates. We knew the 4 conference road games at FAU, at UAB, at Rice, at ECU. That's pretty, I think, easy to handle.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think this is a good schedule for the Tigers, and I think I don't want to put out anything. I don't know when the next way too early college football playoff is, but I think this is a schedule that you can handle.
I don't know if it was yesterday or today that we had the official release of the Sun Belt Conference. And our friend Kara Ritchie, and I want to catch up with Kara next week and talk about Arkansas State's NCAA tournament fortunes. But she had a good tweet in Jonesboro. She tweeted, it's been out there forever. You knew it was going to happen. It wasn't going to be canceled. It's probably just a one-time deal, but it really hit to see the Arkansas State schedule released and Arkansas on it.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one.
Playing the Razorbacks.
Yeah.
Finally.
I know a lot of people excited about that one in Jonesboro, so that's gonna be a lot of fun, and it's nice. I mean, we've been talking about trying to get these schedules out. It felt like some of these conferences, especially the American, was kind of dragging their feet on getting the schedule out there. And about time. We're in February. It's time to get those schedules out.
Make plans.
Yeah, exactly. So
if you got lines out, you need games set.
Especially if you have win totals out. We need to know how these games line up, what the schedule looks like. So that was definitely nice. So you might get back into that at 5:30 during What's Trending. Let's go ahead and get to another break. And when we return, we got to talk about the Grizzlies. They're at home tonight against the Knicks. We'll talk about what to expect tonight in that big-time matchup. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Sports 56 and
I'm so I'm excited.
I had a feeling you'd be excited.
That doesn't even begin to describe how I feel about the new Central Barbecue location on Central.
Well, technically, it's the same location.
Same location, but a very different Central Barbecue on Central.
I get what you're saying, but I don't want to confuse people. The new Central Barbecue location on Central is the same place as the old Central Barbecue on Central.
But it's so much more. It's big, for one thing.
It is a whole lot bigger. Well, I mean, I think it has to be.
Because everybody in Memphis is going to be flocking to the new Central Barbecue location on Central.
Where the old Central Barbecue on Central used to be.
Details.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. Did you know there are so many roofing companies in Memphis that I don't even know them all? So that begs the question, which one should you choose? So I thought I'd give you a little background about me. My grandfather was a World War II Marine. My father worked for the University of Memphis for nearly 30 years. My mother, a pianist at Raleigh Baptist Church. Seems like forever. I went to Brownsville Road, Craigmont, and Bartlett High School, class of 81. We support the local school systems, youth athletics, and believe in what St. Jude and Le Bonheur stand for. I'm a Tiger and Grizz fan. The point? Memphis is my home. Five-Ash Roofing will be around if you ever have a problem with the service we provide. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, with deep local ties in our community. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
It's your time to upgrade into a new ride from Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. 2025 Jetta S, buy it now, $20,499. 2024 Taos SE, $249 a month or $28,616. More front and rear headroom and longer warranty than Crosstrek or CX-30. 2024 Tiguan S, more cargo space, torque, and warranty than Escape or RAV4. Only $279 a month. Plus all 2024 Atlas SE LP conditions, $5,000 off MSRP. So get to Gossett Volkswagen today, 1875 Covington Pike, online, GossettVWMemphis.com. And remember, no reasonable offer will be refused. Gossett's where we're charging forward and charging less every day. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Volkswagen.
7,500 miles, 3,100 down. Taos RMO 56,983, MSRP 31,939. Tiguan RM 144,331, MSRP 31,363. Jetta SMO 45,444. Atlas 3,500 bonus customer cash 1,500. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895 excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Now, Sports Time. Sports Business. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Service. Here are your hosts, Star Sports Movie, Brian Gates.
Well, it's a big one tonight at FedEx Forum. We know the last time these two teams faced off, it was not an enjoyable game at all. Grizzlies went up to Madison Square Garden, and it was over very early. Knicks ran away with it, but now at home, and maybe a little bit different. Grizzlies a favorite or favored tonight against the Knicks, and we know a couple of guys on both teams listed as questionable. Went through them earlier, but again, if you didn't hear earlier, for the Knicks, Josh Hart, Karl Anthony Towns, and Mitchell Robinson, all listed as game-time decisions. For the Grizzlies, Gigi Jackson and Desmond Bane, both listed as questionable. But you look at these teams, Knicks come in last 5 games 3-2, Grizzlies 2-3 in their last 5.
Got 143 on the Grizzlies in that meeting at Madison Square Garden, January 27th. Sure can't allow that.
No.
Regulation or overtime. But that game, was that a wild comment to make? Maybe the biggest regular season FedEx Forum win in Grizzlies history? Tuesday night, that style, that way, over that team of stars. That was a good one.
It was a really good one. I would have to.
It's a big battle.
To rack my brain going back to some of the other ones, but no.
It was lost for a long time.
It was, and then the way that everyone, it feels like, has been asking and been saying, where is this closer as the kind of guy? Give him the ball, get out of the way, and let him work and take over a game. We haven't seen that, and we saw it on Tuesday. Completely took over 15 points in that fourth quarter. The three after 0 for 9 from 3
Finished
to start
1
the game.
for 12.
Yeah, and throws that up. It wasn't even really a good 3-point look. Throws it up, it goes in, and then he hits the shot to send it into overtime. I think everything you could have possibly wanted for a game happened. So yeah, I would say it was huge.
And to get something going, to string together, get hot, really hadn't played that well out of the break, even with that win the other night, 2-2,
sure,
out of the break. But at home for this stretch, and should be big crowd.
Yeah, no, I think so. And you go back to the last time these two teams faced off, it was not a good game by Ja Morant. Only played 27 minutes, 5 for 13, finished with 10 points, sat for a lot of that second half. And so you definitely want a bigger game from him and some of these other guys. Desmond Bane in that game, 6 for 14 with 16 points. Jaren Jackson, 21 points in that game. You want those three guys, those are supposed to be your stars. You want them to step up. And then Jalen Wells, who was massive Tuesday night, he didn't have a very good game at MSG. So nobody really had a good game. So you're really hoping those guys, being at home, being comfortable, can step up and maybe a couple Knicks out tonight, and we'll see how it plays out.
The LeBron James comments about some of the criticism that being the standard bearer, being the face of the league. Did you see those?
I saw a little bit of them. I didn't get to see all of it though.
I don't think we should feel too sorry for him, but a lot that he said I think is accurate. With the shots, the NBA that they're taking, a little bit like when we had Rob Fisher on around the All-Star break, and he said, why are people that have lives that so many of the rest of us can't imagine digging in so hard on their own sport? And he said, and we talked about, you would never get the college basketball heads to do this. And this is not NBA media. This is retired, and it goes to the Channing Frye comment of we're getting beat to death by being nostalgic.
Yeah, it's a good point. But no, I completely understand what he's talking about. Because I was just about to mention it before you said it. Rob Fisher said it right after the All-Star game of, the people that are, it's their job to cover this game and not to, talk up everything and make it look great, any way.
But why you got to dig so
deep?
You would never get NFL. You would never get college basketball media.
No.
You would get some in college football, and you do, that want to go in on it.
Sure, yeah, and I just, I don't really get it, and so
people come off the top rope to go in on baseball.
Sure, oh, of course, all the time.
But not their paid voices.
No, you're not going to see MLB Network.
You're not going to see John Smoltz doing it on a national broadcast.
No, absolutely not. And so, it's. I understand where he's coming from. At the same time, you're getting paid millions of dollars, and you wanted to be the face of the league, and you have this massive shoe
Crown's
deal
heavy.
And all of that. This comes with it, but also at the same time,
but did you know all this was coming with it? Did you know you were going to get just the repetition of criticism from some of the biggest old heads in the game?
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
We're talking the TNT crew.
Absolutely, and even with LeBron, I made a joke with John earlier today, because and this was before I even saw these comments, and they were kind of talking about LeBron, and I kind of made the comment of the more I see him doing what he's doing at age 40, the more I put him over MJ. More of a joke. I don't know if I really believe that. But
we celebrate it, but do we enough?
No, not at all. And I think that's my point is, everyone gets, anytime you bring up that, the text line today, because they got into it, John did, and his guest got into the LeBron versus MJ. Anytime you bring that up, everyone has a side. Everyone has an opinion.
It's the new should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame.
Sure. And anytime LeBron James does something of greatness, it's, well, he's not MJ. And that's a lot. He's not trying to be MJ. He's just trying to be LeBron James, I guess. And so I completely understand where he's coming from. It is an interesting topic, though. But let's go ahead and wrap up this first hour, get to a break, and when we return, we're going to talk some more wagering with Bruce Marshall.
Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Owning your own home is wonderful, and buying your own home can be wonderfully easy. If your agent is Margie O'Neill of Remax Expert, Margie has over 20 years of experience in helping folks just like you find their new home. Buyers markets, sellers markets, up and down markets, Margie has sold them all with a dedication that makes it easy for you to buy your new home. Margie O'Neill at Remax.net. That's MARGIE.ONEAL at Remax.net. Or call 901-685-6000 for your new home. Margie O'Neill makes it easy.
Hey, Marty, there's something always happening over here at Gossip Volkswagen Germantown. So what's happening right now?
The 2025 Jetta S is what's happening, Randy. You can buy Jetta S for $20,499.
That's awesome. What else is happening?
2024 Taos SE, $249 a month or $28,616. Or front and rear headroom and longer warranty than Crosstrek or the X30.
Tell me more, Marty.
2024 Tiguan S, more cargo space, torque, and warranty than Escape or RAV4 at a lower price, $279 a month.
Plus 2024 Atlas SEL Peak Editions, $5,000 off MSRP. So get to Gossip Volkswagen Germantown. 6420 Winchester Road. Shop online, gossipbwg.com. Ask for Marty McKnight.
Remember, the future is what you make it.
I know it's not spring yet, but it's close, and right now, it's the perfect time to start thinking and planning for your backyard entertainment. Just so happens Family Leisure is thinking that way too, with their preseason pool and patio sale. Get 2024 pricing on all above-ground pools and patio furniture. Also, secure your spot for pool installation. That way, you can go ahead and start making plans. Lots of new inventory is en route, so in-stock patio furniture is up to 70% off. You want a play gym, a trampoline, how about an outdoor kitchen to go along with that new pool? They're all on sale too. You can get spas up to $3,000 off and save even more by mentioning this ad. You do that, you'll get a $250 gift card with a pool, spa, or patio furniture purchase. Winter won't last forever. The spring will be here soon, so get ready with the preseason pool and patio sale at Family Leisure, Whit Road off I-40, where family and fun all come together.
Good afternoon. I'm looking at an accident over here on Bill Morris Parkway going westbound. Right as you get on that ramp onto 240, traffic's a little bit slow because of this accident. This is normally where they crash during morning rush hours. Again, that's coming inbound on 385 Bill Morris Parkway on that ramp to 240. It's gotten a little bit heavier in the last few minutes on 240 east from Mill Branch all the way out to Bill Morris Parkway. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525. Highway 64 is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Joining the guys every Friday is college football historian and Vegas legend Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insiders. CBS Sports and his own website, VegasSports.net. For 30 years on Memphis Radio. Bruce Marshall with Brian and
Bruce Marshall joins us now from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net to talk some wagering. Bruce, let's start in the NBA. The Grizzlies, they're playing at home tonight against the New York Knicks. Right now, they are a 3.5-point favorite against the Knicks. It was ugly the last time they played at MSG. A handful of guys listed as questionable tonight, but 3.5-point favorite, the total at 244.5. Do you like anything tonight in Grizzlies-Knicks?
Yeah, I sort of like the over and maybe the Grizz a little bit. Now, I think one of those guys is Cat, and Karl Anthony Towns missed the Sixers game the other night for the Knicks. I'm not sure about his status tonight. Mitchell Robinson's supposed to come back at some point on this road trip for the Knicks, but Thibodeau might have to be playing these games with kind of a small ball look if he's down a couple of guys. And they haven't played that great since the All-Star break. They haven't covered 4. It's now 5 straight because they didn't cover the game with the Hawks before the break, talking about the Knicks here. And they also had a spate of overs before the All-Star break, but they've been under 3 or 4 since. So, but I still think, they haven't looked that good since the break. And Memphis, for whatever it's worth, I mean, these games have been wild here this week versus Cleveland and Phoenix. The offense is certainly percolating. And the totals, I mean, based on these two this week, Memphis doesn't mind playing at a fast pace, and that's what the Knicks are doing. This is not really a Thibodeau sort of team that we've gotten used to in the past. It kind of grinds away. They kind of like to run and gun if they're doing at their best. So I kind of think over, even though it's a higher total tonight. And I might lean to the Grizz a little bit here. Just the Knicks look like they're missing a little something right now, so I might give Memphis a look.
That game here downtown at FedEx Forum, 7 o'clock tip. Another game tonight could be a preview of the Eastern Conference Finals. Cavaliers at Celtics. Cavs with a 7-game lead in the all-important loss column, but the Knicks are a 1.5-point favorite tonight on the parquet. They look like they're both cruising toward that Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be a collision course in the East. I really think the Cavaliers a couple nights ago, when they won at Orlando by 40, I'm thinking that was one of the better games I've seen any NBA team play this year. They just dominated from start to finish, and Orlando's not all that bad. It looked like Orlando was starting to come around a bit, but all these pieces are fitting so well. Kenny Atkinson's probably the coach of the year, I think, in the NBA, and they look so good on both ends of the court. Boston, of course, is capable, but they are just so three-point happy. And if they're raining threes in, they'll probably win this game, but I don't know that they can do that. I mean, shooting 45 to 50 triples per game, it's just hard to watch. Sometimes as good as the Celtics are, I don't necessarily enjoy them that much. I'm going to lean to Cleveland a little bit. I think they're really a team to beat.
If you had to hand out a coach of the year in college basketball, who would it be?
Mark Byington at Vanderbilt.
Very good.
When you got now, this whole team is built from the portal, but there is a little bit of an art in that. You got to fit these pieces together. You have never put those guys together on the floor. It's not like old days, and Byington's not the only coach, and Vandy's not the only place these days in the portal that you're putting a roster together. But what he found pieces that could fit together in the portal, and for a team that had never played together before this year, these guys might not have even known each other. They from the outset. They've been playing well, and these were generally not top-tier portal guys. Edwards from North Texas, the guard, sort of well-regarded, but most of these other guys, Hoggard from Michigan State, not a top portal guy, though. I mean, he's a sort of useful guy who can sort of fit in anywhere. He's kind of like a poor man's Draymond Green from Michigan State when he played there with Izzo. But all these others have fit right from the start for Byington, and I mean, they won that game again the other night at Texas A&M. I think he has done a spectacular job with these transfers coming in, and which nobody expected. Nobody expected this, and the difference between him and Jerry Stackhouse the last few years, night and day. by me, it's Byington.
That's a good one. The case I would make for Rick Pitino would be this. If anybody that's ever been nobody's ever been more associated with living by the three-point shot than Rick Pitino. He really revolutionized the sport with the 87 Providence Final Four run with Delray Brooks and Billy Donovan. But he recognized with this team, we could practice 10,000 threes a day at practice, but we're not a three-point shooting team. He's winning this. He went from kind of running five wide to running the wishbone with his St. John's team.
He did, and Pitino would be in there, and some of the ratings and the rankings aren't respecting St. John's as much. I mean, the net rankings are still not there, and I'm seeing some of the other bracketologies they've got them as a 4 or 5 seed. I think they could be a 2 or 3 if they end up winning the Big East. They're 25-4. The 4 losses have been very close. Their defensive efficiency is second in the country behind only Houston. So they are doing it a little bit different, and you're right. They don't shoot. I mean, they're shooting maybe 20 triples per game, and most teams are close to 30. And they're only 30% out there, so they really don't. But they work for good shots, and he's fit a couple transfers in. And it's sort of an old-fashioned sort of a team. So I do like the job Pitino's done for sure, and he would be in that mix too.
Yeah, he has done a fantastic job. Who's a team that might be getting hot right now that maybe hasn't been top 25 all season, but
this
maybe
year's NC State? Sure,
just getting hot at the right time.
Arkansas. We might have talked about them before. They did it again at midweek. And he also covered that game in overtime against Texas. That's pretty remarkable. I think it's 8 in a row now.
And hit the over.
Yeah, and hit the over. And especially if you'd have to get 8.5 in that game against Texas A&M a couple weeks ago. But there's something going on with Arkansas right now. They're pulling these games out. And 3 weeks ago we didn't give them a chance to get in the tournament. But those back-to-backs at Kentucky, and I think that was the watershed game when Calipari went into Kentucky, went into Rupp Arena, and won that game when nobody was expecting it. And then went into Texas and wire to wire the next game, and here they go. I mean, they've been and they took Auburn. They played Auburn extremely tough down in the Plains last week too. And all this after Boogie Flan got hurt. And he's pretty flashy, freshman guard, but, man, the team is playing better without him. And that's just one of those weird things in hoops. Janelle Davis, the FAU transfers, started to put up some numbers. They've been able to slide Wagner, the Kentucky transfer who came with came with Calipari from Lexington over to the Point. I think they're dangerous, and we'll see. Now, tomorrow, South Carolina, that's another chance for a win. Would not be a good loss if it happened, but that's a game the Razorbacks could win. I think they're going to slip into the field and probably like on the 11 line or something like that, and that is a really good place to be. If you're an 11, I'll take that, and you don't have to play in the play-in game. You're playing a 6 the first round, then you'd get a 3 if you can survive that. I'm telling you, Arkansas, I keep an eye on.
Bruce, I was there Wednesday night, and it was classic all-timer at Bud Walton Arena.
I can imagine. I was watching it too, loud, and they let that thing slip away in the second half too. I mean, I thought they were just going to run away. Yeah, but they had to regroup in overtime, and they saw some adversity. I mean, they were
down
looking
3 or 4 in overtime.
They were all of a sudden they were looking down the abyss, and they found a way to pull that out, and I like that too. So they're winning games some different ways, and that's you're not going to just go and steamroll everybody here. You have to deal with some adversity, and they certainly dealt with that.
Bruce, it was so impressive. I had to do the unthinkable. I had to give John Calipari credit.
He sure did.
Yeah, I can imagine so.
It was hard to believe when those words left his mouth. Looking at some of these SEC games tomorrow that don't have lines yet, but that are intriguing. Obviously, Auburn I guess this one already has a line. Auburn on the road against Kentucky tomorrow at noon. Right now, Auburn a 4.5-point favorite on the road. The total 167.5. What do you like here in this one?
I'm not going to go against Auburn. I think Kentucky's had some shortcomings here this year, and I'm not. As the season has progressed, just seen a few too many holes with them. So I'm just not going to go against Auburn right now. They just seem to have it going. Tennessee, Bama, great game. I mean, shoot, every Saturday is like a
football
NC2A.
Saturday.
Yeah, or it's like the second round of the NC2A tournament every Saturday. The one I'm watching tomorrow, this is sort of a bubble sort of eliminator game. Georgia, Texas. Georgia really pulled one out of the fire the other night. That was a great win for Michael White, and that was a game. I mean, they were up 26, and they almost blew that lead against Florida. Texas is one I am still not convinced Texas is going to make the field, and I am not sure Rodney Terry's going to last there because he was sort of an obligatory hire after he stepped in there the interim the year Chris Beard got moved out, and Texas was loaded that year, and they had a big season, but I don't know that he was always the guy they envisioned leading them to this next level. And of the SEC coaches that might be on the hot seat, and that would include maybe Porter Moser, maybe Michael White, Terry's the one I think who could have some trouble at it. And the loss at South Carolina was not good, and the loss the other night was not good. They're picking up too many L's here. So this is almost a make or break game for Texas against Georgia tomorrow night.
And of course, Texas administration and their boosters, they're going large game hunting for a replacement for Rodney Terry.
Oh yeah, they would for sure, and they'll aim at the top, and however they can pull in there, they'll try. But I think
I'm just speculating. Do you think Eric Musselman is that happy at SC?
Yeah, I don't know. For a while,
he growls about the schedule. Look, you knew the schedule when you signed up.
Yeah, I don't know how long that's going to last there with him, but he's bounced around a little much, and for him to, it was not a great year at Arkansas last year, and this year SC's having some struggles. So I'm not sure Musselman would be at the top of the list there for Texas if they're shopping. Musselman, his MO. It's 4 or 5 years he gives you somebody, and then it's time for him to move. So I'm not sure Texas would look at him. But you might be right. He doesn't seem totally happy there at SC, and I don't see how any of these Pac-12 coaches in the new schools. It's a tough road for them. Washington, Danny Sprinkle really struggling. Altman and Mick Cronin seem to be hanging in there okay, but Musselman and Sprinkle have really struggled.
And when I hear Mick Cronin and Eric Musselman both really grousing about the travel, well, Mick Cronin, I mean, he couldn't help it. He didn't sign up for that Pac-12, but Eric Musselman did, and they always really emote to the media their displeasure. I wonder if they ever go tell their bosses their displeasure.
They should. I mean, that's what the deal should. But this is what you sign up for now if you're coming in with these old Pac-12 schools in the Big Ten. What I think they ought to do in the future, UCLA in particular, there is no way UCLA should be going on cross-country trips in pre-league play. And they try to mitigate that somewhat with the Big Ten schedule with the cross-country stuff. And there's only 3 or 4 of those.
But they took that North Carolina game at the Garden because it pays big money.
Yeah, they don't need to be playing North Carolina at Madison Square Garden anymore. Stay out on the West Coast, and you got enough travel. And football ought to remember that too. They didn't have to go to Hawaii for a game last year, and that more travel for them. Although they actually won a couple road games last year, UCLA. USC did not. They had trouble in football on the road, and they're having a lot of trouble in hoops on the road too.
Mm-hmm. A team that's really jumping out to me, it's a team that I think we talked a lot about before the season started. It feels like they're starting to get hot. This BYU team, 5 straight wins for them, back-to-back wins over top 25 opponents. Last week they beat Kansas midweek and then on the road at Arizona over the weekend. What do you make of what BYU's doing in the Big 12?
Well, I like what BYU is doing this year. They went to the NBA to get their coach, Kevin Young, after Pope went to Kentucky.
And got their money from the NBA, too, from the Jazz owner.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. And they got the top recruit in the country coming in next year, 5 in a row. I mean, they've moved into the rankings this week at 25. They got the arrow pointing up. They've got a couple guys. It's an interesting lineup there. In Saunders, 6'5" wing, really scoring 20 plus every game. They can shoot. They're about 38% from beyond the arc. That's one of the best in the country. They're close to 50% from the floor. So they're close to top 10, both field goal percentage and three-point percentage. They can outscore anybody. And the way they're handling a very tough Big 12, they have really emerged. While some of these other Big 12 teams have kind of fallen by the wayside. So arrow pointing up at BYU.
And they're making it, just really tough on in-state Utah. They love doing that, and Utah with an opening, and BYU really getting separation. 99 different teams all time to have advanced to a Final Four. BYU, they haven't. Alabama finally did last year. Tennessee never been to a Final Four. Who's the team that's never won a major, to use the golf term, never been to the Final Four, that still surprises you?
Tennessee, because they've had so many good teams throughout the years.
It's almost like the Heisman thing. How have they not won a Heisman, not been to a Final Four?
Yeah, that's a good point. And so that's the one that would jump right at me. And
Mizzou's close. It's shocking they've never been to a Final Four.
Yes, because they've been so close so often. So I would think it's them. And I don't know that there's anybody else in the top 25 except BYU and maybe St. Mary's has not been there. And I don't know if Mississippi State's been there either. But
State went 96 at the Meadow.
They did go 96. That's right. Mississippi State went 96. Maybe A&M would be another one, but they haven't had as many good teams as Tennessee over the years. So Tennessee would be the one for sure.
That's a good one with A&M for really. In A&M's, they've done everything you're supposed to do. They're in the air quotes here right conference. They built the new arena. They've tried the splashy coaches, and they can't get there.
Yeah, and this is they'll have a chance here with buzz. It's hard to get to the Final Four. Although I will tell you what, A&M is a hard team to watch, and that Vanderbilt game the other night was one of the hardest last 2 minutes I've watched all year because they kept fouling, and then the refs went there to look at the clock. I mean, that game started at I think 9 p.m.
It was 2:45.
Yeah, it was almost a 3-hour game, and it wasn't overtime, so that was hard to. And last year they started to shoot threes a little bit better toward the end of the season. This year they are not. This is a very hard watch A&M this year. I'm not enjoying them like I did at the end of last season.
Bruce, I still very much love going. It was so fun to be in the arena Wednesday night. Looking forward tomorrow to being in Oxford for Ole Miss and OU. But the last 2 minutes will not end.
That's
college basketball. It's tough.
It is, and a lot of it is this replay stuff, and the referees keep thinking they have to go over to check the clock, and they're extending the time of these games. These games don't last 2 hours anymore. I mean, they go a lot more. Like Vandy was the extreme the other night with A&M. But the other thing there is I don't think teams have to be as worried about using timeouts now.
You never run out.
Yeah, because you're going to have several extra timeouts down the stretch because the refs are always looking at the clock and they're stopping to look at every possession. So that's another development. And I don't think that's good. And I think there ought to be some sort of, they should address that because it is becoming a very hard watch. And the TV guys are sensitive about this stuff, and these games are getting way too long just because of that review stuff.
Yeah, you're right about that. Anything you like tonight in college basketball?
Yeah, I sent Brett a note about this. Purdue and UCLA, some real history here tonight. UCLA opened that arena, Mackey Arena, called Purdue Arena then, December 267. I remember watching the game. Rick Mount's debut at Purdue. John Wooden comes back to Purdue, where he's an All-American player, and he coached in Indiana State. He's got Lou Alcindor with him. They're the defending national champs in one of the great games in college history. UCLA wins on a last-second Bill Sweet bomb, 73-71, and in a last minute that you wouldn't believe. So many ups and downs and fouls and technical fouls and turnovers and missed shots, and it was an unbelievable night. And UCLA escaped with its life. Now, they get back to Purdue again. They've played a couple times there since. In 2000, they won a game there, and they also won a first four game in 2021 in the COVID tournament against Michigan State. So back here tonight, but Purdue is reeling, 4 straight losses. They don't have a lot of athleticism out there on the perimeter, it's costing them now. And I think UCLA can take advantage of that. Purdue doesn't have Edey down in the blocks either this year. UCLA is getting 6 tonight. I think that's kind of interesting. One Metro Atlantic. I'll give you Iona tonight. Tobin Anderson's team ain't that bad. They're not the home courts in the Metro Atlantic, not great. Niagara this year has struggled for Greg Paulus. A bad year for the Buffalo teams in the Metro Atlantic. Niagara and Canisius right at the bottom of the league. So I'll take Iona there. I'll also take Northwestern tonight. I think Chris Collins has done a really good job. They've played well, fought through injuries. Barnheiser is out. Iowa is so soft the other way. I think Fran McCaffrey's job ought to be in jeopardy. They are just poor defensively. I think Northwestern gets them tonight in Evanston.
Rick Mount, cover boy of Sports Illustrated.
As a high school senior, like in February of '66, they used to do that once a year. They'd put some high school kid on the cover, whoever it was Tom McMillan a couple of years after that. But Mount was so ballyhooed coming in, and before that was his debut varsity game because he had to play freshman ball the year before, but he had a foot injury, and they weren't even sure he was going to be available. That first game, he came out and hit his first 4 shots. Electric night. He scored 28 in his debut game. But he was a bombardier. And by the way, that Purdue team had a couple of other pros, Herm Gilliam and Billy Keller, along with Mount. So that was a really good Purdue. And the next year they got to the final game where they played UCLA again. And they played him in the regular season the next year, but nothing quite matched that game to open the 67-68 season.
Bruce, you know it so well growing up there. Do you think Coach John Wooden ever had a favorite player?
Yeah, I think it might have been Gail Goodrich, actually.
Some have suggested Mike Warren.
Well, Mike Warren maybe too, and he was really the guy who. The point guard in those Alcindor teams, the first 2 at least, Warren was really good. Goodrich, I always thought, because he was an integral part of the first title team. I could be Walt Hazard too, but
he was MOP of that team.
Yeah, but Hazard the first title team, then Goodrich the second one. So I'm thinking those first 2 were really Wooden's most special, and he really thought Goodrich was something special. So I might lean with Gail Goodrich.
Well, Bruce, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Tell us more where we can find more of you.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Check me out online. We got picks galore tonight, games, and then NHL, NBA too. VegasInsider.com and CBS Sportsline, Sportsline.com, the new place for picks with the twist, picksandparlays.com and winnersandwhiners.com.
Bruce, enjoy the weekend. We'll do it again next Friday.
Okay, boys. Thank you.
Good luck, Bruce. Bruce Marshall with us from Vegas Insider every Friday, and boy, his knowledge, that's an incredible walk through history. And I knew he knew the UCLA answer.
Yeah, that was great.
And I knew it wasn't Bill Walton.
Oh, yeah, no.
They clashed so much, but loved each other.
Oh, yeah.
But Coach Wooden had to constantly remind him, I'm the coach and you're the player.
Sometimes you got to do that.
And that has to be done. The new Silverado deal of the year, maybe the decade, is at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, where all the Silverados are. And that Silverado, you can get financing down to 2.9 plus make no payments for 90 days. Finance that new Blazer at 1.9, no payments for 90 days. It's still the month of love. Get down there today, get down there tomorrow for the first day of March and get a new Silverado or Blazer you will love. No payments till May, and your good credit deserves it. And you'll get it at All-Star. First exit on Highway 78 after you cross into Mississippi, take Kraft Goodman Road, and you're there. If you're an educator, recent grad, military, law enforcement, first responder, healthcare worker, an instant extra $500 bonus back. If you're looking for a certified Tahoe, Suburban, or Silverado, they're there at All-Star in Olive Branch. Every pre-owned you can imagine. Hyundais, Silverados, Fords, Hondas. And if you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it to All-Star in Olive Branch, whether you bought it there or not, and you'll get the best deal for it. Together, let's drive to All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. For more information, go to allstarautogroup.com.
Well, let's get to another break. When we return, busy weekend in the SEC on the hardwood. So when we come back, we're going to break down a lot of these matchups, what they could mean for both the NCAA tournament and the SEC tournament. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Attention homeowners, it's time to score big with Choate's air conditioning, heating, plumbing, and generators. For the first 50 callers who purchase a new carrier system, generator, or tankless water heater, choose between 60 months of no interest financing or free air duct cleaning, a $500 value. Plus, don't miss our $39 February deals. Choose from a furnace tune-up, a sewer inspection, or an electrical panel inspection. It's the perfect way to prepare your home for the season. But hurry, this winning deal ends February 28th. Don't fumble this opportunity to claim these amazing offers. Call Choates today at 347-8086. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. I have been told that my ads are all business and I should share some of my personality. Okay, I love tongue twisters, like the one about the terrific tasting toast by Taste Tester Toaster, or Big Black Bugs, Bleed Blue Blood, and of course Sally and her seashells. Or of course the ever-present I'm a Mother Pheasant Plucker, I plug Mother Pheasants. Okay, enough of that. If you want an honest, fair, reasonable roofing, siding, or gutter estimate, call Five-Ash Roofing at 367-0050. That's exactly what you'll get. No empty promises, no high-pressure sales tactics, and no fast-talking salesman trying to convince you that today and only today is the best day for you to get a new roof. For the record, the best day to get a new roof is when you're ready for one. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Tiger Nation, Memphis women's basketball is back in action at the El Marone Fieldhouse Saturday, March 1st at 2 o'clock when the Tigers welcome the Tulsa Golden Hurricane to the 901. Prior to the game, we will honor our senior class, and at halftime, we will recognize the legendary career of Tamika Whitmore by retiring her jersey. It's time to stand up, Memphis, and cheer on your Tigers in their final home game of the season. Be sure to get your tickets now at GoTigersGo.com.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is the UCMC Church in Memphis.
Good afternoon. They're still trying to clean up the paperwork on this crash on 385 Billmores Parkway as you get onto 240 at one point. It was back to pretty good there, all the way back to Hickory Hill Ridgeway on Billmores Parkway again coming inbound. Going the other direction is really starting to increase with that volume going outbound on 385 as you continue out towards Collierville. Weimer's Jewelry, conveniently located 7525. Highway 64 is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We're back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We're going to talk a lot of SEC basketball. Good weekend coming up starting tomorrow. But before we get to that, a lot of talk this week. We've talked about it a bunch. But the more and more teams and players that it's coming out, they're involved with some sort of gambling investigation. We talked to Kevin Sweeney on Wednesday. He told us that at least people he had talked to said the Fresno State situation not connected to everything else. But now, Brett, you're telling me that $50 was
$50.
What the Fresno State players were in
just
for.
wrecked his reputation.
Crazy,
$50.
crazy. And we talked about it, and it's Kevin made this point, and he's right. It's very easy for someone to go to these college kids and say, "Hey, man, you're not gonna ruin the game. You're not
Only
gonna do anything. Just instead of getting 8 rebounds, get 7 rebounds."
Mm-hmm.
And
now player props hadn't been done forever.
Yeah, player prop, and that's
side in total.
That's what the Fresno State one was. It was under on
Right.
rebounds and points. And so he goes, it's very easy to say that, and the kid go, okay, that's nothing crazy. Give me the money, but $50. I mean, that's crazy.
I don't know. $50 gets you out of very much trouble.
Yeah, $50 doesn't do much for me. $50. Hey, look, I shouldn't say that.
I like it as much as the next fella.
If someone brings me $50, I'll take it. But I'm not gonna. You know, as a player, this might be something a little sketchy.
Yeah.
$50 ain't gonna cut it for me.
And we're gonna have more of these stories, and it's amazing around college players, both sports. Some know I can't have this conversation with anybody about anything, and then others are susceptible.
Sure. Yeah, it's very strange. I know yesterday, we were talking about it, and you think about how new all of the legalized sports gambling is, where it's on your phone, it's on the televisions, we're running commercials about it. I mean, it's becoming a part of just the everyday life in sports. Is sports gambling's there, and it's a part of the game, and so that almost makes it even more just easy for especially college kids. I mean, the amount of times I was.
Do you think a coach would have the right to go, let me see your phone and let me see every app?
I think so.
I mean, and if you have that on it, you better get rid of it now.
Yeah, I forgot who I heard talking about when Penny Hardaway first got the job at Memphis, and that he had this great staff coming in, but none of them really had a lot of college experience, and so they were saying that his first time he's doing first away game, should we take their phone? Should we do a bedtime? I mean, how do we do this? And so it's been done. Coaches have taken players' phones. I mean, it's something that's done. And so I wouldn't mind at all of let's make sure you don't even have these apps on your phone to even worry about it. I was telling you during the break, I was friends with a guy that played for Memphis basketball team when I was in college, and somehow we got onto the topic of this, and obviously this was 4 or 5 years ago, a lot different to where it is now. And he said he had buddies that were texting him about, "Hey man, I'm betting on y'all tonight." And he goes, "No, don't even text me that. I don't even
stay away from it.
I don't even want
Good
that
for
on
him.
my phone or anywhere near me," because he didn't even want the idea of him being a part of anything sketchy to be out there. And so it's different, and it's so easy for these college age kids. You got buddies all over the place that are doing this, sitting on their couch and betting on sports, and so. It's great, but the other ones the other schools, it sounds like this is a big ring that it sounds like could be connected between what happened with Jonte Porter and that ring, and now these colleges could be all a part of that. And it's something that I think we're just going to get more and more names attached to it.
Big ring.
Yeah, no, huge.
Nationwide.
Massive. Yes, sounds like very, very big. There's a story in Sports Illustrated. I read it the other day, kind of about this whole thing and the connections, and they had a name of a guy that supposedly may or may not be a part of this. I can't remember the name. I can't remember the exact connection. But there is, if you want to know more about it, anybody listening out there is a big story in Sports Illustrated that was published earlier this week that kind of goes deeper into what could be going on behind the scenes.
Who needs it more tomorrow, Alabama or Tennessee, on the famed first Saturday in March?
Oh, I love a
cigar game.
More. Oh yeah, bring out the cigars. Nothing better than one of those prove it games. Who needs it more, especially when it's a rivalry game like this? I'm gonna say Tennessee. Being at home in this game, I think people still question I trust them defensively, but it feels like Chaz Lanier is going to have to really go off for me to trust them offensively. You know what you got with Alabama offensively. The question there is it's flip-flopped. It's the defense. But I trust Alabama a little bit more than I trust Tennessee right now. So I'd say probably Tennessee.
Where are they in mock brackets? Are they both around the same area?
That's a good question. Let me pull it up. I know, obviously, we talked about
won
it.
in Lenardi.
Yeah, we talked Lenardi.
Tennessee's
2. Memphis could see them in the second round. So yeah, they're right there, neck and neck with each other. So I mean, that could be a big game in terms of seed line.
Who needs it more, Oklahoma or Ole Miss?
Oh man, Oklahoma. I mean,
almost must. Isn't it?
It's weird because it's a must-win for them, but also if you're Ole Miss, I don't
going
think
the wrong direction for Ole Miss.
Sure, and you don't want to lose at home, do you?
And you have remaining for Ole Miss. They have still to play on the road. 2 tough ones. They have. I'm trying to get to it. They have at home against Tennessee and at Florida.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
That's 2 losses.
Yeah.
So you lose this one with the kind of a little bit of a rut you're in.
Yeah, you're really going in the wrong direction then.
Maybe a lot of rut you're in.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to lose tomorrow.
Lose on Wednesday at Nashville.
Yeah.
Then are you sweating?
Yeah, and the best part about all of this is, we've talked about it a couple times. Tomorrow we're into March. It's let the madness begin, but the separation between these teams in the SEC, every single one of these games matter in terms of seeding for the SEC tournament, and it is very narrow between where team number 4 is and team number 8 that's starting Wednesday. That gap is not that far, and so, you could go from wait until Friday to playing day 1. So all of these games this weekend are so important. Joe Lenardi, where does he have Ole Miss on? He has them as a 7 seed. He has them playing Nebraska. Jerry Palm does. So, that would not
Lenardi
be
has 7 playing Baylor.
Sure, so that would not be a great loss. I don't think it would, do super
State's got to
damage.
get right.
State's got to get right, and I mean that's kind of the get right game this weekend for them at home against LSU. But yeah, I mean that both those Mississippi teams they need to avoid losses this weekend.
And Arkansas, you all but would give back the big Texas win by going on the road and losing at South Carolina.
Yeah, and it's a tricky one. I mean, coming off that big win, you talked about the environment in Fayetteville for that game against Texas, and South Carolina, while they're only 1-14 in SEC play, they've played in some super tight ones at home. They're a completely different team at home and on the road. Just can't get over that hump. So, if you're Arkansas, you got to bring your A game tomorrow on the road at South Carolina, because you're right. You lose that one and take everything away that's happened over the last
and you
2
don't
weeks.
want a bad trend to start with next Wednesday night on the road at Vandy, or Tuesday night rather, and then the last regular season game of the year against State that's trying to get right.
Yes, I mean these are important. It feels like Arkansas has done what they need to do right now, but I mean,
and Bruce labeled them dangerous.
Yeah, I think he's right. They are finding something. I don't think we thought they would, but here they are.
I was wrong. So I was wrong. Razorback fans, you can let me know. After seeing when they lost to Oklahoma when I was there in late January. I didn't think they would win 5 league games.
Yeah, I mean, you came in here that next day and said, I don't think either of them are good. I don't think any of them deserve to be in the tournament. And, now...
I still really
well, I was
don't.
about to say, yeah, I don't know if we're still super sold on the second part.
And everybody now, is it 13 or 14 for the SEC?
Yeah, it's insane. I know. It's going to be tough because you still have games to be played. You still have conference tournament that at least those first couple of games will mean something. And then you have bid stealers. I mean, there are going to be bid stealers out there somewhere. And it's a lot can happen in the SEC over these next couple
here's
weeks.
the trend line that's dangerous for Ole Miss. We were talking about what they've been losing if they lost tomorrow and the two tough games next week. You fall all the way to that 9. You play the first game of the day that Wednesday in Nashville against the 16. I just don't know how a committee can look at a team with that many losses and you lose to the last place team on the first day of the tournament and that get rewarded.
Yeah, that's really tough, and that's kind of what makes this. You really want to avoid that first day, that Wednesday game, because you're probably going to be facing teams that are either completely out of it and just playing for, what the heck, or you're playing for teams that are on the bubble trying to get those wins that could be dangerous in that spot. So certainly if you're Ole Miss right now moving in the wrong direction, you want to avoid one of those games. So we'll see. It's going to be fun tomorrow. I mean, from the start of the morning until the end of the night. First game at noon, last game at 7:30. All feel like super big-time games, and it starts with a bang. Arkansas on the road against Kentucky. Right now, Auburn a 4.5-point favorite in Lexington. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on all of those games. But let's go ahead and get to another break, and when we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgess. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous? Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar base. It's now available in the 32-ounce jar. It's so good to base or marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or in our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef. And she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from the Mediterranean diet to steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meat. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper is more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with the perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it. A beloved family affair is still going strong since 1948. Rendezvous.
Exercise. The exercise coach is ready for you. Strength training only takes 20 minutes twice a week with special computerized exercise equipment designed to maximize your workouts and minimize your time. The exercise coach gives you personal workouts by one-on-one training. Check out the exercise coach at exercisecoach.com/Lakeland or exercisecoach.com/Lakeland. Injury or knowledge.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Bobby J says get to the Gossett Kia President's Day sales event today at Gossett Kia on the Pike. You'll find 2025 Kia K4 LXS for less than $5 a day at $159 a month with class-leading torque and fuel efficiency. 2025 Kia Telluride S with more power, larger cargo bed area, and more ground clearance than Nissan Pathfinder $398 a month. 2025 Sportage EX, better overall consumer rating than Toyota RAV4, longer warranty for Evans.com at $279 a month. All with $49.99 due at signing. Plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Call Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike. Go online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Excess mileage, K4, SEO 23318, MSRP 25320, Telluride SG 596 204, MSRP 41060, excludes tax filing license 895 PF with approved credit dealer stock only. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/2/2025.
Sports Time on Sports 56 and 95 FM. Once again, Brett Roserly and Brian Davis.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, I bet you can guess where I'm going with my big number today. My big number is 45. Last night, Steph Curry was incredible. 56 points, 12 three-pointers, and I saw this nugget today. This was Curry's 45th game with 9 or more three-pointers made, which is obviously the most in NBA history. Again, 45th game with 9 or more made three-pointers. That's incredible. The closest to him, number 2, would be Damian Lillard, who only has 14, which is remarkable in and of itself that somebody would have 14 games with 9 or more made threes. But the only problem is you're going up against the greatest shooter that we have ever seen that has 45 games with 9 or more three-pointers.
That is good stuff. And the week the NBA's had to celebrate, look at all these games, all these individual performances. The Grizzlies game the other night, I come back to, maybe the all-time regular season game.
So much fun.
There's so much to celebrate and not be so pointed in the criticism from the inside.
I'm with you. I mean, the product is really good right now, and it just
remember who
makes no
paid you.
sense. Yes.
My big number is 23,605.
Okay.
Is that 605 or 665? I can't read my own writing. I'm going to it now. It's the 6.
There you go.
23,665. That's Patrick Ewing's career points with the Knicks.
Wow.
That's number 1 in New York Knicks history. He's also the leading rebounder in Knicks history. He's also the leading shot blocker in New York Knicks history, but he never won a title there. They haven't won a title since 1973 with those great teams. Penny Hardaway, in 83 games for the Knicks at the very end of his career, close to the very end, he had 682 points.
Wow.
But he was pretty injured at that point.
Of course, yeah. I mean, the injuries were definitely there. Now, it's a really good night tonight in the NBA. We talk about the Grizzlies going up against the Knicks tonight. You also, a game you mentioned earlier, Cavaliers and Celtics. But how about this? I meant to bring this up with either Bruce or Alan, but if you had told me a year ago that the Detroit Pistons would be favored over the Denver Nuggets, I'd ask you what happened to Denver's entire roster. I mean, it would make no sense to me, but now Detroit.
I thought they had something for the future, but I didn't think the future was spring of 25.
No, I didn't think it was next year.
No.
And JB Bickerstaff, I mean, we talked about it with Bruce a little bit. He mentioned, a name or two for NBA Coach of the Year. I mean, I think JB Bickerstaff has to be right, squarely in that conversation with the job he's done at Detroit. I mean, that win over Boston earlier this week was incredible.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot of attention in tonight against Denver. Denver's in a tough patch of schedule.
Yeah, no, they really are, and it's not going to be easy. A lot of times you look at the schedule and you say, Detroit there, but no, it will not be easy. And kind of weird to say. I mean, maybe the JB Bickerstaff breakup maybe it worked out for both of them. I mean, you look at Cleveland and what they're doing now. Kenny Atkinson and the job he's doing. They're number 1 in the East, but he has the Pistons rolling right now. Currently 6th seed in the Eastern Conference.
Maybe it will work out for him. He's always taken on. Well, he's taken on a lot of dead-end jobs on day one.
Sure has.
And I don't think fairly treated in Cleveland, but he's a loyal league guy.
Yeah, he is.
He would never say what some of these people are saying, nor would his dad. Knicks history, Pat Ewing won 23-665. Second, a distant second, 14-617, Walt Frazier, Willis Reed third, 12-183, and Tennessee standout Allen Houston fourth.
So I'll say there's probably some pretty good names in there that you can list through of just kind of dudes that the Knicks have had.
Carmelo Anthony seventh.
Well,
but
that's
a lot of points scored with the Nuggets.
Yeah, no, but he was good with the Knicks. That's a fun name. I love Carmelo Anthony.
Earl the Pearl eighth, Dick Barnett ninth, Bill Bradley 10th. I have no familiarity with Carl Braun at fifth or Richie Guerin at sixth.
I'm not familiar with those two, but I'm sure they had great careers.
And the Knicks broadcasters through the years.
Well, yes.
Between Marty Glickman, Marv Albert, and the guy that does national now, that was at Nick, the lead ABC voice. Well, God, I can't believe I can't remember his name. Mike Breen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't.
It really started there.
I didn't know that. That's news to me. Wow, yeah. So, no, I think tonight's going to be fun. I still don't know how I feel about it. I think the Grizzlies have a shot tonight, but I just can't get that last game out of my mouth. I mean, it left a really bad taste in my mouth, what happened at Madison Square Garden.
It was bad. It got roughed up.
Roughed up is nice. It was ugly, but I think that's one game. That's what we said the day after that game. We came in here and said it's one game. As long as it doesn't happen next time out against anybody, not just against the New York Knicks, but if this isn't a trend, then it's just one game, and so we'll see tonight. They have the opportunity to get the revenge.
Oh, tonight is when we get the Walt Frazier.
Right? Yeah, I was just thinking about
running
that.
into Rob.
Yes, that'll be fun. We'll get a good picture. I wonder what Rob has laid out for tonight.
Oh, it's got to be garish.
It's always big. It's always bold whenever Walt's in.
But it's got to be with Walt Frazier.
Oh yeah, he always does it up. That's probably one of my favorite days of the year is when you get that picture of him and Walt next to each other, both looking dapper as ever. They're just they're both great. So now it's gonna be a lot of fun tonight, and then the Grizzlies, they turn around tomorrow night and see the Spurs, and a Spurs team that we know Victor Wembanyama out for the season, but then also learned yesterday, and we talked about it, Greg Popovich not going to return to the sideline this year.
Ain't no Wemby.
And still,
Pop and Wembyless.
That's right, and very up in the air on if he will return in the future for Pop. But so a good opportunity. If the Grizz can get a win tonight, I think you feel pretty good tomorrow against the Spurs, and then you look up 3-game win streak, and you're back doing something.
And you have to maintain that place in the standings.
Yeah, and that's gonna be the conversation. I mean, you're
just one bad week can really do damage.
Exactly, and you're counting down the days now and the games, and you look up, and I mean, right now, Houston, who's sitting in the 5 seed, they're only a game and a half back from you for that 2 spot. So you have to take advantage when you have home games, when you're playing those teams that are, down and out like the Spurs are tomorrow night. You got to take advantage. You've got to start stacking those wins if you want to stay in that 2 seed, because I think you feel pretty good if you're in the 2, but if you start falling, then I think you're in a much tougher first round matchup.
Yeah, better win tonight and tomorrow night against a weakened San Antonio, and then Monday night against Atlanta. That should be favorable.
Yeah. So it should be a fun weekend downtown for these Grizzly matchups, and it starts tonight with the Knicks. Let's go ahead and wrap up this second hour and get to a break. When we return, we're talking a whole lot of Tiger basketball. Jason Munns, the Commercial Appeal Tiger basketball beat writer, he'll join us. We'll talk about what happened Wednesday night against Rice. We'll preview Sunday's game against UAB. As always, Jason Munns, presented each and every week by Jim's Place Grill out in Collierville. Don't go anywhere. Jason Munns, he joins us next.
President's Day sales event and truck month is on at Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat on the Pike. 24 Dodge Hornet GT all-wheel drive, most powerful gasoline-powered SUV in its class, $27,698. 24 Jeep Gladiator Sport S, $14,191 off MSRP. Solid front and rear axles, best-in-class ground clearance, and best-in-class 7,700 pounds towing capacity compared to the Tacoma 6,500 pounds, and the only truck with a removable roof and doors. And 25 Ram 1500 Laramie Crew Cab versus Ford F-150. Multifunction tailgate and Ram box storage system that F-150 doesn't offer. $13,319 off MSRP. So drive past the rest and come to the best Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat online. GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
MSRP 56,265, 1500 SM 64771, MSRP 67,265, Hornet TR3A 42,215, MSRP 35,835, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title license, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Whether you're teeing off or heading into the office or kicking back to watch the big game, Travis Matthew has you covered. Their versatile, high-quality apparel seamlessly combines style and comfort, making you look and feel your best wherever life takes you.
From performance-driven styles to everyday essentials for men and women, Travis Matthew clothing is as adaptable as it is durable, making it a perfect fit for life's many moments. Ready to elevate your everyday? Visit TravisMatthew.com and get 20% off your first order when you sign up for email.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we give our students credit. Credit for deciding while stuck in traffic to get a bachelor's degree. Credit for managing 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a full-time job to pursue an MBA. Students at UMGC can use prior learning or relevant experience to earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's. And graduate students can transfer up to 12 credits toward their master's. Flexible online and hybrid classes start March 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
I know it's not spring yet, but it's close, and right now, it's the perfect time to start thinking and planning for your backyard entertainment. It just so happens Family Leisure is thinking that way too, with their preseason pool and patio sale. Get 2024 pricing on all above-ground pools and patio furniture. Also, secure your spot for pool installation. That way, you can go ahead and start making plans. Lots of new inventory is en route, so in-stock patio furniture is up to 70% off. You want a play gym, a trampoline, how about an outdoor kitchen to go along with that new pool? They're all on sale too. You can get spas up to $3,000 off and save even more by mentioning this ad. You do that, you'll get a $250 gift card with a pool, spa, or patio furniture purchase. Winter won't last forever. Spring will be here soon, so get ready with the preseason pool and patio sale at Family Leisure, Whit Road off I-40, where family and fun all come together.
This traffic brought to you by Brinson Tax Service. They protect you like family.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Coming out of Midtown, it's busy now on 240 South at South Parkway. It's also gotten a little bit heavier on 40 East from Warford, Hollywood, all the way over to White Station. Now it's going to get heavier here in the next 10-15 minutes on 240 as you get on to 385. Bill Morris Parkway, all that traffic headed out towards Collierville. Weimer's Jewelry, conveniently located 7525 Highway 64, is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, with Dave Woloshin, weekday mornings from 10 to 11. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jack Wild and Roller Bluff City. Once again,
You say you stand by your man. Tell me something I don't understand. You said you love.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brian and Brett with you as we start our third and final hour on this Friday afternoon. Joining us now, talk some Tiger basketball. The Tiger basketball beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal, Jason Munns, joins us. He's always presented by Jim's Place Grill in Collierville. Jason, thanks so much for joining us. Let's go back to that game against Rice. It got a little hairy in the second half, but Brett and I were talking. It never felt like the Tigers were going to lose that game. It felt like even when it was close, even when it was tied, the Tigers were still somewhat in control of that game. What did you make of what we saw Wednesday night against Rice.
Is that not one of the most consistent themes of the entire season? Because I know that's how I look at it, or have looked at it in all of these close games. Because has been discussed ad nauseum. Memphis has played a ton of close games, but in all seriousness, there have been very, very, very few where I, or a lot of people like yourself, it sounds like, felt like it was ever really in doubt.
Not one.
And yeah, well, I'm trying to think.
Not at home.
That Temple game was maybe the exception to the rule this season, where it was they just can't get a rebound. They just cannot, and Temple's getting all of them. So maybe that one felt a little bit different, but for the majority of this season, I go all the way back to UNLV, never thought that was going to be, I didn't question that one. I didn't question the one against San Francisco. I didn't, and there's been a bunch in conference where it's you just didn't question it when things got tight, and this was the same way. And maybe that's because they have proven it so many times over the course of this season that when things do start to feel or start to, on the surface seem like they're and this one did get dicey. Don't mistake that because it was tied with 2 minutes and change to go or something like that, or 3 minutes and change or whatever it was. It was a tie game, and that's late. That's pretty late to be in a dogfight against Rice at home. But then Tyrese Hunter hits a shot to give him the lead, and then Dane Danger. He's doing it on both ends of the floor. You know what I mean? I think he scored 20 points or something like that in the second half, and he had 3 blocks in a 34-second span late in the second half that really were those were arguably the difference maker plays in that stretch where they went on a 14-2 run to close the game. Big time plays on the defensive end by Dane Danger, who is now I think he's averaging close to 18 points a game since he got put back in the starting lineup 8 or 9 games ago. He's just playing out of his mind. But it was just another game where it was closer than it should have been. But you never thought that Memphis, or not never, but you never truly felt like it was gonna go awry.
And there's got to be probably easy to find. I bet both of y'all know one. A site for college basketball game control. I would bet Memphis has led almost as much as anybody this year in the country in their games.
That's a good point. They never trailed against Rice. They did give up. They did, it got tied a couple of times, but they never trailed. And that, maybe that is why. Maybe that's why you don't. Yeah. It doesn't feel like Memphis is not in control. Is because they pretty much have been for most of these games. They're not playing from behind very often. And if they do, it's within a couple of possessions, and it's usually fairly early in the game or midway through the game, something like that, and then they take control as you get down down into crunch time, or if they don't take control, they at least take the lead. And so, that's a very good point. I have not seen a stat on that.
It's got to be out there.
But I'm writing it down right now in my binder of homework.
Very good, Jason. I didn't want to send you on a wild goose hunt for that. Jason, what does a win Sunday and what does a loss Sunday do?
I don't think it does. I think a win helps. I think a loss doesn't really hurt all that much. It depends on what we're talking about. Are we talking about the NCAA tournament, or are we talking about the race for the regular season AAC championship? Because those are two different conversations. Although what's interesting is that a Memphis win on Sunday at UAB does not lock anything up. It does not mean that Memphis is going to be the 1 seed. It does not mean that they're going to win the conference championship outright. But a loss doesn't really exclude Memphis from either of those things either. It's so close with UAB, Memphis, and North Texas.
With the head-to-head against North Texas.
Yeah, I mean, it's so close right now that there's still so many variables, so many scenarios still at play based on whether Memphis wins or Memphis loses. But looking from a bigger picture standpoint, it is a quad 2 opportunity for Memphis. It may be the last one, although we'll see what happens in the conference tournament. But by then, I think the selection committee's pretty much got their minds made up. So I don't know. I don't know by the time you get to Friday, Saturday, and especially Sunday of the conference tournament. I don't know how much that's going to matter in terms of seeding. But yeah, if Memphis goes to Birmingham and wins and gets another quad 2 win, which would be their 5th quad 2 to go along with their 6 quad 1s, they would be in the top. I think as we sit here today, that would put them in the top 15 in terms of combined quad 1 and quad 2 wins in the country. And so, what that would do is it would give the bracketologists who are saying that Memphis is going to be a 7 seed, there's going to a win on Sunday would mean that those bracketologists are going to have to start probably do some reconsidering. Because I think that if Memphis is on, bracketologist X's 7 line, I think a win Sunday bumps them up to a 6. On those in those particular brackets. And I don't think, however, that if there is a bracketologist there, and there are several who have Memphis as a 6 seed today, I don't think a win bumps Memphis up to a 5 seed, if that makes any sense. I hope it does.
Sure. It does.
And so, I don't know how much it will help Memphis to win, but and I don't know how much a loss would hurt Memphis, honestly. If Memphis went to Birmingham and lost on Sunday, I could see them staying at a 7, or if somebody has them as a 6, they drop them to a 7. It's just going to be one of those weird type games where, it doesn't really give you a ton of juice if you win, and it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt you if you lose.
Yeah, and everything we talked about it earlier a lot. Everything is really starting now to be set in concrete. It's been poured. It is hardening up.
Yes, it's getting hard. People were kind of grumbling the other day after Memphis beat FAU, and I don't think they moved up in the net, and they beat Rice, and also didn't move up in the net. Well, I think it's that's because there's so much, there's so many results and so many data points now that to move the needle, you really got to do something big, and so to your point, things are starting to firm up. We know for a fact that Memphis is guaranteed a double bye at the AAC tournament. There are bracketologists who declared after Memphis beat Rice that they are now a lock for the NCAA tournament. I'd like to ask those people whether, kind of what they mean. Does that mean that, if they lost out, that they are still safely in the field, or does it mean that they are projecting Memphis won't lose to UTSA and they won't lose to South Florida? I'd like to know what they meant by that. But, it is getting to the point now where the foreseeable future is coming into focus, and it's kind of an exciting time.
It sure is. Going back to Wednesday night, the big story coming out of that game was the officiating, especially directed to P.J. Haggerty. He received the technical foul after complaining about a no call. You look at the numbers. I have KenPom pulled up right now this year in terms of fouls drawn per 40, 5.8 this season, 4.8 in conference play. So it's down in conference play. Then if you go back to last year, 7.9 a year ago when he was at Tulsa. That was third in the country, the third most drawn fouls per 40 in the country. What do you make of P.J. Haggerty and how the officials are officiating him? I know I've heard some people saying that maybe officials are being told that the way he's trying to draw fouls, kind of flailing, throwing his head back at times to try to watch it extremely close, and maybe that's causing refs to swallow the whistle at times. What do you make of this, and do you think there is something to him not getting fouls in conference play?
Let's start by admitting that P.J. Haggerty does have a tendency, and it may be even more of a tendency, or more than a tendency, to, try to get the referee to blow their whistle.
Gamesmanship.
I mean, listen, he wouldn't be the first, and he won't be the last, and he's definitely not the only player to do that. I remember Kendrick Davis did it pretty, a lot. He there were a couple times I thought he might be giving himself whiplash with with some of those head head throwbacks. But so PJ is not PJ does that. To me, in my opinion, that does not mean that a foul was not committed. Mm-hmm. That's how I look at it. Like, if you're saying that because he is flailing or being dramatic or trying to get trying to bait the referee into blowing his whistle, it does not mean that a foul was not committed. So that I want to make that point first and foremost. But I looked at the numbers, comparing this year the non-conference to the conference, and they're basically the same sample size, 13 games in non-conference, now 15 games in conference, and he is averaging right at 4 fewer free throw attempts per game from the non-conference to the conference. He was over 9, I think it was 9.5 free throw attempts per game in the non-conference, and now it's 5.5. That is too much of a discrepancy, too much of a deviation, and with more than enough sample size for that to be a coincidence. Mm-hmm. That's not just a coincidence. You mean to tell me that just all of a sudden when conference play started, he just stopped getting fouled? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And here's the other thing. Dug into the numbers a little bit more. If you take away the 3 games where he attempted the most free throws since conference play started, he has attempted, if you take out the top 3 games, that leaves you with 12 games. He's attempted 52 free throws in those 12 games. 52. That's just over 4. So there are 3 games where, that are really bumping up that average, even though the average is still way off compared to the non-conference. And then on top of that, I look to see, how sometimes you get fouled on purpose at the end of a game when it's close.
Yeah.
He going into the Rice game, so take that one off. So we're talking about the previous 14 games in conference play. He had 75 free throw attempts, and 9 of those 75 free throw attempts were in close and late situations. So basically, it was where the other team wanted the referee to blow their whistle. You know what I mean? So in reality and flow of the game situation, he had 66 free throw attempts in his first 14 conference games. Again, I say it's too much of a discrepancy for there to not be something that.
Yeah.
Jason, we're down to the best time of the college basketball season, tomorrow being March 1st. That means in 2 Saturdays, on Saturday, March 15th, if the Tigers are playing, they will be playing it at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth. In 3 Saturdays, either that Saturday or that Sunday, That's the potential punching the proverbial ticket to the Sweet 16. In that time, between now and that time, if the Tigers were to ascend to that, who's the number one key player, the guy that's got to have the next great 2 or 3 weeks of his basketball life?
That's the question right now that everybody is wondering. I mean, we just did a podcast. Who is the most? Is Dane Danger the most important Tiger as we sit here today, or is it PJ Haggerty, or is it Tyrese Hunter, who is arguably your he's your rock. He may not be blowing you away with the stats, but he is your guy. Like, he's your rock. He's the one who he's played 3 full college basketball seasons already, and he has made it past. He has advanced to an Elite 8. He's advanced to a Sweet 16, and he has advanced to a round of 32. He's never gone one and done in March. So, is it him? Or is it someone else? Nick Jourdain had 19 and 9 the other night against Rice. PJ Carter had that stretch where, he couldn't be stopped. Is Kobe Rogers due?
Mm-hmm.
He has struggled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has struggled here the last 6 weeks or so. Is he due for a breakout? Is he due for, is he going to be that guy who catches fire and carries the team? Honestly, I think as we sit here today, until someone else takes it from Dane Danger, it has to be Dane Danger. He is playing at such a high level right now. It's just really, really difficult to pick against him. I mean, PJ Haggerty is still getting his points. He is still able to get you. He's still a bucket getter extraordinaire. Tyrese Hunter is still a winner. There are some of the role players are still capable of catching lightning in a bottle and certainly contributing. But what Dane Danger has done now for the last month or so is just, and the crazy thing is it continues to get better. Mm-hmm. I mean, he is just, you take out a couple of clunkers. He didn't play very well at Wichita State. There was another game where he only scored 6 points, but pretty much every other game he has scored 18 points or more since being put back in the starting lineup. I just think he is playing too well right now to think that it's going to be anybody other than him. But we'll see. I mean, that's the beauty, I think, of this team and why I think they're going to be such a dangerous player in the NCAA tournament, is because he's not the only one capable of putting the team on his back. Mm-hmm. So it could be somebody else who emerges, but right now it's Dane.
Well, speaking of Dane Danger, I guess earlier this week during the Penny Hardaway radio show, he made a comment about having another year of eligibility. You wrote a story kind of talking about what his career has been and how it would be very difficult for him to get another year of eligibility. He would have to request that from the NCAA. And then you posted this to Twitter after the game. Dane Danger on his eligibility situation outlook, quote, "I'm not sure. I'm looking into it a little bit more. Still some things I've got to clear up from my time at Baylor. I'm just trying to stay present. Whatever happens, happens." Walk us through this Dane Danger eligibility situation.
Yeah, I'll try to do it without being too confusing because it is a little bit convoluted. I think he thought that he, was basically assured of having one more season of eligibility. In fact, that is, as we sit here today, it's borderline. I mean, as we sit here today, it's not. He doesn't. And the reason why is because the NCAA passed the COVID extension waiver. It gave everybody a 5th year of eligibility back in the 2020-2021 season. And they basically said, if you are anybody who is eligible, anybody who's in college and eligible that season gets the COVID extension. Well, the problem is Dane wasn't eligible. He did not meet initial eligibility requirements, and so he redshirted that season. And so he did that. So he's only got 4 seasons to be eligible and to play. Well, the next season at Baylor, the 21-22 season, he played 3 games, packed his bags in December, went to Illinois, sat out the rest of the year. I don't know this for sure, but I think there are some misconceptions about that season. Like, I think there are some assumptions that he can, petition to get that season back. Well, then that's not the case. Unless he proves some sort of, serious hardship or something medical, which it doesn't sound like there are, either of those can be done. He voluntarily left the program that he was with and transferred at midseason. It's the same thing that happened with Caleb Mills when he was at Houston a few years ago. He played, 4 or 5 games and then transferred mid-year to Florida State. And this past offseason, if you recall, Memphis tried to get that year back. Mm-hmm. They petitioned the NCAA to get that year back, and he was denied. So Dane can submit the same type of petition and try to get, a waiver to get one of those years back.
You got to try.
Sure.
You do, and because what's the worst that could happen? But everything that I understand about the situation, it's basically 99.9% sure that this is his last season. It's unfortunate because he is playing so well. He seems to be having fun and falling in love with Memphis. Same, it goes the other way. Memphis is loving some Dane Danger right now, but it doesn't seem likely at all that he'll be back.
Yeah, well, it's like you said, it's a weird situation for him, but yeah, you got to try, and I'd love nothing more than the opportunity this offseason to try to build a team around Dane Danger and PJ Haggerty. That'd be a ton of fun. Jason, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do it again next Friday.
All right, appreciate y'all.
Appreciate Jason. You, Jason. Be safe. Thank you. Jason Munn's with us talking Tigers every Friday. He's been with us since the beginning of the season. Every Friday brought to you by Jim's Place Grill in Collierville. Over 100 years of charcoal grill steaks, over 100 years of celebration, family time, and lasting great memories. The Terrace family with their touch for our community, recipes that date back to the beginning in downtown and now in Collierville at the railroad tracks at Poplar in Houston Levee. Online at jimsplacegrill.com. Don't forget the E in Grill, where every steak is grilled perfectly over an open flame. Come to Jim's and taste and see and feel the difference. Lunch hours, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Dinner hours, Monday through Saturday, 5 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Since 1921, a Memphis landmark, hard work, values, and a dedication to their beloved, valuable diners. The Terrace family, they've created that memorable dining experience. The lunch menu, the staples like the shrimp cocktail, the crab cakes, and the souffle ma, and those salad dressings, all homemade. And at dinner, the calamari, the soups, the seafood, and those steaks, ribeyes, fillets, and strips, and that great bar area going strong right now. Fantastic bar area at Jim's Place Grill in Collierville.
I think if you're Dane, you got to at least try. I mean,
gotta try.
Again, it's going to be hard.
What else is compliance doing these days?
Well, that's true. But, also Memphis doesn't have the best record in terms of getting those yeses back from the
You start
NCAA.
Danger Haggerty for next year, you're in good shape.
I mean,
do you agree with Jason's assessment about him being the most important from over the next 3 weeks?
Yeah, probably. I mean, just the way he's playing, I'd maybe throw in,
somebody handling the ball.
Sure.
And he was close to saying Tyrese.
Yeah, I think Tyrese Porter. I still keep going back to Colby Rogers, and if he's knocking down shots, this team feels.
If he got hot for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like they have so many options because PJ Haggerty's going to score. Tyrese Hunter's going to do something.
They need Haggerty to live at the line.
And they sure do, and he's trying. He's trying to get there, but I think Hunter does so many different things. If the shot's not falling, he's going to get assists. He's going to try to get rebounds. If you can have Colby Rogers knocking down shots, I think that would be a huge factor because I think we're starting to get to the point where you feel pretty comfortable that Dane Dange is going to do this night in, night out. So it's a good question, and I guess we'll see here over the next couple of weeks as we wrap up the regular season and get into conference tournament, maybe who catches fire for the Tigers and maybe who they can ride into maybe a tournament run. But before we get to another break, let me remind you about Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984, and their talented team is ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, the 2025 Range Rover Velar, and the 2025 Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender. Available in multiple models to fit your needs, the Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. Go online to jaguarbluffcity.com, but head out there, test drive these vehicles. 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince for Bluff City Jaguar. Let's get to another break. When we return, we'll talk about what's trending.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but its size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for a limited range time. Free gun rentals with purchase of ammo and members lounge access. Top Gun, 2770 Witten Road, TopGunMemphis.com. Always ship with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
One sign that a bar is a great bar is their signature cocktails, and the signature cocktails at Bell Tavern really set the place apart. Maybe just a simple 3-whiskey old-fashioned with a house blend of domestic whiskeys, or a barrel-aged Manhattan with Rittenhouse Rye, Rockwell Sweet Vermouth, barrel-aged bitters, and maraschino cherries. Those are two of the incredible drinks you can get at Bell Tavern, Memphis's perfect downtown neighborhood bar, and there are many, many more. Combine those drinks in the friendly atmosphere, and you've got Bell Tavern.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha!
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfume. It's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Tiger Nation, Memphis women's basketball is back in action at the El Marone Fieldhouse Saturday, March 1st at 2 o'clock when the Tigers welcome the Tulsa Golden Hurricane to the 901. Prior to the game, we will honor our senior class, and at halftime, we will recognize the legendary career of Tamika Whitmore by retiring her jersey. It's time to stand up, Memphis, and cheer on your Tigers in their final home game of the season. Be sure to get your tickets now at GoTigersGo.com.
This traffic brought to you by Brinson Tax Service. They protect you like family.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Finishing up the paperwork on this earlier wreck that's been out here for a while. Bill Morris Parkway coming inbound right before you get on to 240. That's why it's been a little bit slower than normal between Ridgeway there and 240 coming inbound on 385 Bill Morris Parkway. All the major outbound routes are just now really starting to pick up. Hey, if your lawn needs some help this time of the year, call Lawn Solutions. With over 30 years experience, Lawn Solutions, that number, here it is, 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we got about 30 minutes left in today's show. We got to talk about what's trending and what?
Wrestling night tomorrow night at the Grizzlies.
Tomorrow night's a big one.
Landon, special referee.
Special guest.
I'm coming in the ring. You mind?
I do.
Yeah. Don't need to,
it's his ring.
Don't even joke, huh?
You don't need to be in that ring.
Well, seeing as it is my debut on doing this,
maybe second or third time we can.
Can you name the greatest Memphis wrestling referee ever? Number one all time. The name. Guarantee you all the old timers would say it. Jerry Calhoun.
Oh, Calhoun.
He was the ref.
Not familiar with old
in the middle of a lot of action.
Work. Huh.
No.
Good for him.
Occasionally,
go find his film.
Occasionally, would have matches with no referee.
Oh, love
That's
that.
always entertaining.
Yeah. Always playing by the rules.
The greatest wrestling setup ever, though. One Monday night cage match, Jerry Lawler and someone.
Okay.
And no outside interference. There was going to be no manager involvement, no stuff.
Okay.
So they put the cage up around the match for the big, primetime main event. And Jimmy Hart had been out under the ring since like 5 that afternoon.
Oh, my gosh.
Hiding, and he told the story. A lot going down under the ring, like bodily function.
Of course.
But hidden under the ring from, well before match time and people, starting to get in the Coliseum and came out and interfered in the match.
Yep.
Hid out there the whole time. Nobody under the ring tomorrow afternoon, is it?
I'm not going to say
anything. You got to be there. I mean, be there and find out.
Be there and find out.
That's the
matches outside and inside.
Matches outside and inside. It's going to be a really exciting night.
Matt Hardy in attendance.
He will be here. I'm not sure what his involvement is. They've kind of kept that on the down low, but he'll definitely be there on Sunday for the Memphis wrestling event, and I'm pretty sure he's going to play a role in tomorrow night's game. He will make an appearance.
How about it?
It's going to be cool. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm going to be there tomorrow night. I'll see you.
Yeah, the wrestling is completely free. You just walk up and you watch as much of it as you want.
I was joking. I'm not going in the ring, Landon. I promise.
No, but you can walk up to it.
Yeah,
it's
cheer
free.
on.
It's free for
I
viewing.
I may walk up and heckle the ref.
Yeah, I bet that happens.
I might give you
probably doesn't happen a lot.
Give you a little toss.
Get out of here. Get inside.
Go get your Desmond Bain little plush toy.
Go see the game.
Yeah, get inside. Go get your seat.
Would be some type of ejection. How close have you followed this Matt Stafford story? He's going to stay with the Rams. And now, my favorite part of all of this, the Giants, who wanted Matt Stafford, now they're turning their attention to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers might not have to move. I mean, just keep your house where you're at.
I paid no attention. I never thought it was serious that he was leaving. In fact, as soon as Landon walked in today, it's the first thing we talked about. Yeah. He was staying with the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Rams are close.
Yeah.
And we talked about it the other day, but for having to play on the road because of the fires and having to get out of L.A. and then playing in the snow game, they might have won the NFC. Coulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
They're close. They can get to the NFC Championship game next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Giants, they have no hope.
They cannot.
But lost in the story, though, if Tom Brady wasn't tampering with Matt Stafford, then nobody should ever be charged with it.
Yeah.
The Idaho ski trip and him courting him for the Raiders.
That's right. Yeah.
Are you an announcer or are you an owner?
Yeah, we've talked
and
about
if you're
this,
an owner, you're tampering.
Yeah.
And you can't be a little bit of an owner.
Right.
If it's $1,
sure,
you're an owner.
You're an owner, and it's different. Tom Brady than Jerry Jones, but you can't be buddy with your pals and say, "Hey, man, come play with them." It's all the same.
It is, and I swear I'm convinced it's the league's payback. Well, first of all, they want to be associated with Tom Brady.
Sure,
they want him on those games. It's good for business, but I'm convinced it's their payback for doing him wrong over Deflategate.
Yeah, I think you're right because it feels like a very loose leash on what Tom Brady can do.
How long's the payback?
Yeah, it can't be forever because then you're in a pickle. But
I don't know that someday, I don't know the order of transfer of power with the Raiders. I have no clue. But you would think right now Mark Davis probably grooming, wanting him to be his successor for league affairs.
You'd think so. I mean, that would make sense, but
it makes sense to do it tomorrow.
Yes.
And once you do that, there's no way you can have this pretense of I'm announcer 20 Sundays a year, but I'm owner the other 365 days a year.
Got to pick a side. This is one of those situations
for the
where
league.
You can't sit on the fence.
Because who else would they allow to do this?
Nobody.
Nobody else.
Nobody. It's Tom Brady.
Not even Peyton Manning.
No.
They wouldn't allow Manning cast and him being any percentage owner of fill in the team.
No.
And shouldn't.
No, absolutely not. But I guess we'll see, if anything ever happens, but it feels like it's not. Combine going on right now. Obviously, a lot of eyes going to be on the Combine tomorrow when the quarterbacks and the receivers go. But today, all the quarterbacks and receivers did have their media portion, a lot of interviews. I saw this earlier. Memphis Football posted this. Quote from Seth Hennigan, "It means the world to me just to be able to represent the U of M on the biggest stage here at the Combine. It's definitely an honor to be here and just excited to put on a good performance and make some good impressions on scouts and people who make big decisions in the league." So,
how very nice.
Look, when you talk about the guy that you want to represent your program, Seth Hennigan is that guy, and really excited to see both him and Rock Taylor tomorrow in the on-field workouts.
I think he's on a roster opening day.
Yeah, it feels like it. We were talking with Greg Gaston yesterday afternoon, and kind of towards the end of the conversation started talking about the Combine, and it just feels like the type of player that Seth Hennigan is, son of a coach, the 4 years at the University of Memphis, the student of the game that he is. It feels like if he can go, whether it's being drafted late or being an undrafted free agent, it feels like if he gets on a roster, he could very well be in a really good position if that right team calls that has that veteran quarterback there. Go in, learn, digest everything, and then, just keep making that impact on them, and you'll get your shot one day.
And you know what he'll do for us? He'll provide for us when we'll be dying for any football come July 31st. That's the date of the Pro Football Hall of Fame game in Canton. We'll be so ready for that. Let Seth Hennigan be in the mix in those preseason games, and we'll be watching and following those box scores a lot closer.
Yeah, it's going to be the joy because, we always talk about it. It's one thing when, this player is in the mix, is on a preseason roster. We'll use Blake Watson as an example. Last year, Blake Watson's with the Broncos, played in a handful of preseason games. Obviously, people were keeping an eye on that. When it's the quarterback, especially the quarterback that started for 4 years at your school, it's just different. And so, preseason next year, if he's on a roster, which I think a great chance he is on a roster preseason, it's going to be, how can I watch this game? How can I find
and it'll be him to make the team.
It will. And so those will be big. A lot of people will be watching, and we'll be keeping, we'll know who the beat writer is for whatever team, and we're going to be following along. Okay, what's going on in minicamp? Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So it's going to be fun to keep an eye on. Obviously, those two guys from Memphis, but also Jackson Dart and what he could do this week, and certainly with a good performance tomorrow, will be huge for him. And
can't wait to visit with Bo next week.
Yeah.
I've been texting him a lot while he's been in Indianapolis, and I think Dart is working his way into the first round.
I think so too.
Now, it may not be with one of the teams right now that's in that first round that looks like a quarterback. It could be from a trade.
Yeah, and that's that's the thing to always keep an eye on, because I do think that
if it's traded, it's probably a better team than the ones drafting.
But I do think that with what he did at the Senior Bowl, what he'll do at the Combine, and then Pro Day, I think when you put all that together, I think Jackson Dart is going to be a first-round pick. It feels like he's making that jump.
This bracketology today, I think it's got everybody's interest really peaked, not only for the timing. This is when it's starting to matter But to see out there the potential of playing Arkansas, maybe meeting Tennessee, maybe playing St. John's, maybe going to Raleigh, famous for Tiger NCAA tournament games in the past. That was at Reynolds, but still famous. Some very famous games for Memphis Tiger basketball at the NC State campus.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a lot of fun. You talk about just how many times have we talked with Ty about, man, I mean, let's get this game, however you have to do it. Memphis and Arkansas on somewhat of a consistent basis. You saw them last year in a tournament, but to get that type of game, a big time game, you would want it to be a home and home, something where fans can be. But to get it in the tournament, especially now with Cal there, would be massive. Obviously, anytime you talk Tennessee would be massive, and then St. John's, obviously a great team, but obviously the history with Pitino and where he's been and the coach that he is. I mean, all of that would just be so much fun.
Do you think after Louisville it's Arkansas or is it Tennessee that stokes Tiger fans more than anybody else?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's probably generational because I think I would say my friends would say Tennessee just because there's been more history in our lifetimes. But I think if you ask my dad, he'd probably say Arkansas. I know every time it comes up is, Arkansas owes us a game in football. I mean, it always gets brought up.
He's right every time he brings it up.
He is. So I think it's probably generational, but I do think.
Well, really now it's going to be 2 because this new deal
that's right.
is 3 and 2, isn't it?
It sure is.
Or 2 and 1.
That's right. So no, I mean, I do think Arkansas is right there at number 2, but I do think if you ask people more around my age, they'd probably say Tennessee is
And if
there.
it's against Arkansas, that's the perfect way to play that game and go, look, this just has to be done next year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it'd be a good opening for it. It would open that door. You would get to see the build up and the decision makers, whether it's coach or AD, whoever.
And playing in football.
Sure.
And there's no hope of a Tennessee-Memphis football series.
No, not at all. Not at all. So,
that's over.
So I think it'd be a good opportunity. I'd love to see it. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And, we'll see. I mean, we only got a couple more bracketologies from Joe Lunardi until we got the real thing.
And Memphis and Tennessee wouldn't meet annually.
Right.
But it was fairly often. But I don't think there's much of a chance of Ole Miss and Memphis going forward in football. But there's more of one there than it is in Tennessee against Tennessee.
Sure, yeah. It just feels like a big separation between Memphis and Tennessee in terms of any sort of conversation, really in any sport, but certainly football. So, no, it's going to be fun. I think this weekend's going to be big for a lot of teams, a lot of conferences. And heck, I mean, when we speak again on Monday, there are going to be teams eliminated. Teams will have their seasons done in the Sun. I mean, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Keep up with it. It's here. March is here. And
in these one-bid leagues, and I bet I say that, probably repeat myself way too much. In these one-bid leagues, I would beg them. I think the Ohio Valley, I think they have it right. Sunbelt's close to having it right.
Yeah.
That the team that wins the regular season, I think they should automatically advance to the finals.
Yeah. I think you're right. Like you said, the one.
Why expose that team that could make a little noise to losing that heartbreaker, in the postseason tournament?
Yeah, it always gets brought up with the West Coast Conference because they were kind of the first to have that weird-looking bracket, and that setup always Gonzaga and St. Mary's.
Have you seen the Sun Belt bracket?
Yeah, it looks exactly the same. I mean, it's crazy, but yeah, you're right. I mean, the OVC, they're the same thing. 1 and 2
I think the American should protect one more.
I think so. I mean, you talk about, a one-bid league right now. The American's a one-bid league. So, I mean, they would fit that mold, I think, and I'm with you. I would be all for it. I wouldn't be for it, in like the SEC or the Big 12, any of these conferences that are going to have a bunch of teams.
Yeah, let them battle it out.
Let them battle it out. But I'm with you. Some of these smaller conferences, I do not mind at all that number 1, even the number 2, getting a pass, all the way through to the semifinals. I think it makes a lot of sense. But let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day. When we return, we're wrapping today's show with Crunch Time.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello.
It's the Mitsubishi Motors Spring Sales Event at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage. We Gossett $249 a month or buy for $18,410 gets 43 MPG. 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid PHEV compared to Mazda CX-90. Better range, better warranty, and we Gossett at $299 per month or buy for $42,900. Ready to upgrade your ride? Get 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander. $399 a month or buy for $29,460. Plus, get peace of mind with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Get to Gossett Mitsubishi today to start your year off right. 1870 Covington Pike and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
MSRP 18410, PHEV RZO 59821, MSRP 489, Outlander RZO 67325, MSRP 33210, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
Corky's barbecue. Cooking it up.
Down home way. Hickory smoke flavor like a good old day.
Hey, y'all, Jimmy Stone over here with Corky's Barbecue. Catering is our specialty. Millions of trusted Corky's to cater their events for 40 years. As we make it easy, clean, and delicious for your guests. Whether it's 50 people or thousands, our experienced team comes to your location, sets up, serves, and ensures everyone enjoys a Corky's all-you-can-eat barbecue buffet, starting at only $7.99 per person. You can't beat it. With 40 years of experience, it's easy to see why customers choose Corky's time and time again for all of their catering needs. Visit Corky'sBBQ.com to book us for your next
Encore flavor. Corky's barbecue.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com. Hey, pet parents. With Progressive's collision coverage, you get extra protection for your cat or dog. Because there's nothing worse than seeing your pet hurt. Like when you see their face after accidentally stepping on their tail. And you say, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Pickles." As you kiss his nose and rub his little belly welly, you know Mr. Pickles is thinking, "You betrayed me." Anywho, Progressive pays up to $1,000 in vet bills if your pet is injured in an auto accident. Learn more at Progressive.com and watch where you step. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Collision coverage subject to policy terms. Not available in all states.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Well, Brett, we talked earlier about, next year with some of those preseason games. We'll be watching a lot of them with Seth Hennigan, other guys playing there. But one of the great joys during the preseason slate is HBO Hard Knocks. They've expanded it. We have an in-season version now. But last year, they debuted the off-season version. And what I learned is the NFL did not like how that played out after Joe Shane said some things throughout the season that came back to haunt him during the season, and no NFL team wanted to participate in the off-season Hard Knocks, but HBO wants to keep it going, so they're heading the college route to their old buddy Bill Belichick. North Carolina will be featured on HBO's Hard Knocks this offseason. Both parties, I think, very smart. I don't know, very early with any information about what it will look like, when it will take place, if it is actually the offseason, if it is the actual Hard Knocks that comes out closer to the start of the season. But we will get behind the scenes episodes of North Carolina in year one of Bill Belichick. I'm very excited about it.
I am too. What I learned today, I hope Jerry Palm and I hope Joe Lunardi, I hope they're right, whether it's Dateline Providence or Dateline Raleigh. Everybody play nice, whatever it would be. I've seen Arkansas twice this year in person. I've only seen the Tigers one time in person. I've watched both a lot on the TV. I think Memphis would beat them double digits.
Yeah.
If they had to play Arkansas.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, sign me up yesterday to play Arkansas. I don't even care how the game goes. I just would love seeing that match.
Only thing I ask, NC, make it the 6-10 game on Friday where we have 5 days of the build-up.
Oh, yeah, that would be a whole
Not being selfish or anything.
No, never. But that would be a lot of fun. What I could have done without... it is the story that came out. Anthony Edwards suspended 1 game after his 16th technical foul of the season. I love Anthony Edwards. I think he is a heck of a player, but his one flaw is he lets that mouth go and he gets a lot of technicals. 16 on the season, 1 game suspension, and they don't need him out too long because they're right there in the play-in situation. They need to stack wins to put themselves in a good position for postseason.
What I could do with that, I waited all week to bring this up. I was out Wednesday and Thursday, but even early in the week, right after the news of her death, the news of the death of 88-year-old songstress Roberta Flack. Now, I know people are going, what in the world would Roberta Flack have to do with sports? Well, she passed from ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. I had an uncle pass of it, so I want to be really sensitive about it. It's about a 58% male to female, 58-42 male to female disease. I know plenty about the disease. If you don't know anything about it out there, trust me, you don't want to learn anything about it. It's the worst way to go ever. Now, when she passed, though, the tributes rolled in. Compare that to when a football player passes from ALS. They always make the connection that football killed them.
Right.
That football killed the player with ALS. Did Roberta Flack ever play football?
No.
I bet not.
Far from it.
Why do we always have to kill football when it's a football player diagnosed with that horrible disease?
Yeah, it's a shame.
Anything neurological, it's football's fault.
It is.
I'm sick of it.
And it's before, and it's immediately, too.
It is.
Before you know any information about anything, it had to be football.
You know no other thing about their medical history, but let's blame it on football.
It's football. Yeah, I hate that. Where are you beaming tonight?
Downtown to Grizzlies and Knicks, FedEx Forum. Last time out, a FedEx Forum Classic in overtime since December of 2023. That was the first Grizzlies win in an overtime game.
Wow. Yeah, this is going to be a fun one tonight. I think the Grizzlies are going to be out for revenge. But being me, too, I think the biggest game in the NBA tonight, Cavaliers, Celtics in Boston, TD Garden. It's going to be electric. Number 1 versus number 2 in the East. That one starting 6:30 on ESPN.
Being me tomorrow. Road trip to Oxford, right?
Heck yeah, we are.
Me and Bryant.
Yeah.
Your first trip ever to Oxford.
Never been to Oxford. I've been to Oxford for youth baseball tournaments, but I've never experienced any Ole Miss athletics. So
Looking
I'm excited.
forward to it. Sunday, the Tigers, all the bracketology. It really matters now.
Yeah, it does. March is here. We wake up tomorrow, let the madness begin. Yes, this weekend matters a lot in college basketball. But enjoy your night. Enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you again Monday afternoon.